right. Hey guys, how are you? God bless you. Sorry I missed last night's video, but I was spending time with my family, and to me, that's more important than anything else that we're doing here right now. So, not that it's not important to teach, but you know what I'm saying. So, I wanted to talk about a couple things last night, but I'm glad I held off, because what I want to talk about today is just as valuable and equally as important when it comes to this, because, again, I have a social media footprint, if you will, and a lot of people know that prior to me becoming a street preacher, that I was pretty big on social media first. I had a large Facebook page. I wasn't a YouTuber so much at the time. I was more doing the Facebook stuff, but I had a pretty sizable page. Hold on a second here. So, I have a lot of social media stuff going on here. And, for me, looking through social media and being on there and seeing some of the things that we see, and, the promotion and the propagating of false teachers, false brethren, it's a conversation we've been having in my house lately with my children about, the danger of social media, and, that what you see on social media isn't exactly what life is like. For me, as a teaching ministry, in addition to the street preaching ministry, because there are several components to what we do as a ministry. It's not just teaching and whatnot. It's not just the social media platforms we utilize. It's also the street preaching. It's all part and parcel to everything that we do. So, I spend a lot of time observing people and things out in the world, as we, we'll go get coffee, or we'll go grocery shopping, what have you. And, I observe people, and I always wonder, in the back of my head, I'm always thinking most of these people out here today, they don't think about God. Like, a lot of people in today's world don't really think about God until they have to, or until they need something, right? And, and while I know, that a lot of people don't necessarily, like a lot of some of the personal things that we teach, we need to, because how do we make, things relatable to others if we can't touch on or talk about our personal experiences, the things we have learned and observed, from a biblical perspective. And, because for me, I don't believe in a so-called watchman's ministry, if you will. I just don't. I don't see any position in the Bible where we're called to be specifically to watchmen. Now, watchmen in that watch over the flock, sure, but as watchmen, like where people have dedicated their lives to, we're going to expose this guy and expose that guy, and every ministry is bad except for theirs. There's a lot of bad ministries out there, sure, but there's good ones too, and people sometimes focus on all the bad ones, but never the good ones. Now, I unfortunately, because of the nature of what we do, I don't get to meet a lot of the good ones, because the good ones are busy doing stuff. I do run into the bad ones more often than not, especially when I did have the very large social media platform, because all the guys that were well known, they all wanted to be part of this little boys club. The Greg Locks, the Josh Feuerstein, who you don't even hear about him anymore, right? I mean, these guys were huge in social media. And unless you reinvent or rebrand yourself, you're not going to you're not really going to be known. You have to change with the times, or else you lose your audience, and you lose, whatever, because that's what Christians are, right? Christians want to be, tied into the world. They want to do the things that the world does. That's why you have like Life Church with their, what you would call it, their movie thing, where they take the entire church and, redecorate it for a movie theme somehow to make it biblical. They did it to Mario Brothers last year. I'm not really sure how Mario Brothers ties in the Bible, but they're trying to use carnal means to attract people to the church, but all they're doing is attracting carnal people, and that's why we're finding all this stuff happening. And that's why, this video is titled, "What is Religious Trauma?" Because there's no shortage of people that are on, different social media platforms talking about they've been traumatized by religion. Everything is always, I've been traumatized. And I want to make it clear on this, that when we're going to talk tonight, we're not trying to diminish actual trauma. There is actual religious trauma. But in this video, I want to talk about what religious trauma is and what it's not. That's what I'm going to focus on, because just like everything else, people virtue signal and they cry on social media, and because we are such a society that is driven by entertainment and what we see rather than discernment, because again, everything is manipulated on social media, right? To the point where, people take pictures of other people thinking, hey, look, we're out here preaching, and they take pictures of like large groups of people to make you think that that's their group of people. Because they want you, they manipulate the words and the pictures to make you think that there are these huge ministries out there. Brother Kevin Deegan, he had called me and told me about, when he was in Salt Lake City, that they were preaching. Kevin's been doing Salt Lake City with the Mormons longer than anybody we know, right? He's always there. The Mormon thing is his wheel. You want to know about Mormonism, that's your guy. So he's been preaching there forever. This last time they're out there, you went out there with the usurpers of Reuben's ministry, and they were taking pictures of Kevin Deegan's team. And Kevin's team was like, please don't post those pictures on social media. And it's not because we're like, oh, don't post our pictures. It's because we don't want people thinking that we're with you or agree with you. And of course, John was like, oh, I won't do that, but then did it anyway. Because he wants people to think that all these guys are with him. That's why he called the LA guys his team, the team out in LA. They're not part of his team. They want nothing to do with him. So, but what he does is the team, to make you think that he still has control of all this. It's very carefully manipulated and orchestrated. So the point is that, and we use that lesson for our kids to say, this is what the dangers of social media are. Because people present themselves as something they're not. Everybody can make a story. Everybody can claim to be a Christian. Everybody claims a lot of things on social media. And most of the time, people are not honest about who they are. Their life looks peachy keen, everything's perfect and rosy, perfect family, and that's not the case. And before we really dive in tonight, I'm going to give you an example of this. Because one thing I'm sick and tired of is predator preachers that are molesting children. And the story I'm going to tell you real quick is a former pastor in Alabama who just pleaded guilty to sodomizing a child. Now, of course, the LGBT will jump all over this saying, pastor, church, but he's gay. He just moved in with his queer partner. And they ignore the fact, and it's all part of trauma, by the way, because this is what they do. This is how you know something's traumatizing. They'll claim that a man who rapes a boy is not a homosexual. But they'll claim that homosexual men like other males. That's what homosexual means. But they're taking a boy, a child who's a boy, and they're saying it's not really a boy. These people aren't attracted to boys. And what they've done is they blurred the lines, and they're traumatizing the victim by saying, well, you're not really a boy. And now you know where the transgender nonsense comes in and all this other stuff, right? Because if they're not a boy or a girl yet, because they haven't decided, well, then a homosexual raping a boy isn't a homosexual, right? He's just a whatever. So they're doing these things to blur lines so that they can skew the numbers to make it look like, well, homosexual men are no danger to anybody else. They're no more danger to children than you or me. But when you actually look at it and evaluate it, it's not true. And the church has a problem with this. Churches are allowing these people access to their children. Churches are allowing predators under the guise of unity and love and all these things here. They're allowing these kinds of people access to their children because they want to appear loving. They want to appear unified. They want a virtue signal saying, see how awesome we are. Look, we care about people. We love people. And the danger of that is people are getting hurt. So here, take a look here. We have Pastor Dalton Tate. Dalton Tate is a drag freak now who was a pastor in Alabama. He was arrested after harming a child. And again, the LGBT groups jumped all over this saying, look at that, another pastor hurt a child. But they're ignoring the fact that he's a homosexual. He was married with 2 children of his own at the time, but he was and is a homosexual. He moved in with a man after molesting a child, coming out as gay, drag queen, all this stuff. Here's his picture. So when you hear things from people saying that churches are more dangerous, yeah, churches when you allow these types of people in here. This is not a man, this is a homosexual. Okay, and you look, people will accept him. Now, if he was a pastor who was not homosexual, he would be rejected, but because he's a homosexual, he's celebrated and loved. But on social media, he and all these other things here, he was a pastor. So we allow these people into our churches who are preying on children. We're the ones giving our kids to these deviants. And what happens is we're telling these people we have to love them. You know, how else are we going to reach them? I mean, it's. I just wanted to point that out before we get into tonight's video. I know that's a little different than the topic, but you need to be aware that there's dangers here, that these people are infiltrating our churches. Because God is setting me up in the future to do a video about everything we've learned about the infiltration of our government, our legal institutions, our police, courts, everything are stacked against the Christian. They are stacked against conservative Christians who follow Christ. And if you go way back when I first started this stuff, one of the things I tried teaching people is that, you know, these people know, this was 5 years ago, I said, they know they cannot win statewide elections. So they're starting at the local level and working their way up. They're stacking the deck and building. And that's exactly what's happening. Okay? And look, lust no more. Some gay men might have been raped by men as kids. Shouldn't you feel compassion for that? Well, again, that's the argument some people make to say, oh, we love you. Look, it's horrible. But you know what? There are lots of people who were raped as children who aren't gay either. So do you feel compassion for them? Oh, I understand. I don't really get it. I don't get it, because there are people that have trauma in their life that don't turn out like that. Okay? So we got to be very careful with how we present things. And you know, that kind of thing. So, but anyway, another story for another time. So let's dive in tonight. So, what is religious trauma? We hear about it. Believe me, you'll find the deconstructionists, you'll find the ex-evangelicals, right? They can't wait to tell you how they've been horribly abused as children. They were traumatized as children, and it's the brainwashing and this and that and the other, blah 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 blah. But you'll notice that this religious trauma is a relatively modern concept. You didn't have this back in the day, and I believe a lot of this happens because we have a lot of unqualified people in churches. We have people that have free reign that we are willing to accept as Christians, accept that just because they say it. Like I said, and I'll reference some of the things that in my life, that traumatizing, but as somebody who, whatever, you could do things that traumatize me, but I'll get over it and whatever. That's what Jesus does. So when I talk about religious trauma, I want you to understand that what we're talking about is there's two types. There's the actual religious trauma, and then there's those that are crying about religious trauma because they were told when they were kids, don't do this, it's bad, even though they wanted to. And I want to talk about the two different things, because to me, when you use a subject which there are genuine victims, and you hijack their experiences and attach the name of it to yourself, you are minimizing and almost making it hard to take actual victims seriously. It's like women that cry rape that were never really raped, to pay back a guy, or because they were just, some skank, and they don't want people to think they're skank, so they want to throw some guy into the bus. And I'll tell you this story here, of a one like this. My brother was married to a girl when he was in the military, and she was bad news. And everybody told him, don't marry this chick. But, most 18-year-olds, when you go in the military, you don't know nothing. You're on your home for the first time. And, women like guys in uniform. So, you do what you do, right? He went to another state, got married. Well, anyway, she was discharged from the military and lied to him about why. So what happened was this. So this girl, listen to what she did. She was at a party one night, and she got drunk, and she wanted to sleep with this guy. What happened was the guys passed out. The people in the hotel room passed out from getting drunk. She climbed on top of the guy and started having sex with him. But when she looked down and realized it was the wrong guy, she claimed he raped me. That guy was arrested, put on trial. And as it turned out, it was a lie. It was a lie. So because of her lie about being raped, it actually diminished actual victims of it, because women have used it as a cover. Now, again, her lie actually ruined this guy's career because he was underage drinking and he got thrown in the military for it. And so did she, for lying about being raped and drinking and all that stuff. But when you lie about trauma, when you lie about actual things like that, you actually do damage to the credibility of actual victims. Because we live in a society now where somebody has to do is show on a few tears and automatically is, oh, they must be believed. Okay? We feel bad for them. Because after all, we are a society driven by what we see, not by discernment anymore. So when people say, telling me I'm going to hell has caused trauma. Okay. It doesn't cause trauma. If you think being told don't have sex for marriage or you're going to go to hell causes you trauma, it's because you want to have sex for marriage. Okay? When you're told don't steal, don't do these things that God says not to do, and you're told that these things have eternal consequences, that is not causing religious trauma. That is you being a spoiled brat because you don't hear what you want to hear. So instead you go, I don't like being told no, I'm going to go do it anyway, and you caused me to be traumatized because you said I was going to go to hell if I turned into some skanky slut. Because it's usually women or homosexuals that cry about this, right? Effeminate men that cry, he told me that if I poke that guy in the butt, I'm going to hell. And it caused me so much trauma because I wanted to poke him in the butt. And I don't like being told no. They're like children throwing a big temper tantrum. That's it. Okay? That's all they're doing. That's not trauma. They want to hijack actual trauma victims and attach it to themselves so you can get sympathy for them. But they're agents of the devil that want to hijack and tell you that religion is bad. And while some are bad, it's not all bad. Just because you're told not to do certain things and you want to, doesn't mean you're traumatized. Or does that mean every time we tell our kids no, we're traumatizing them because we're not letting them do what they want? When your kid wants to run out in the middle of the road and you say no and you yank him by his arm back into the yard, are you traumatizing him? Or is it you don't want him to get hit by a truck? Okay. Do you see what I'm saying? You know, it's so we have to understand that, you know, most of these people that whine on social media about, I was victimized. You know, I was brainwashed into thinking this purity culture, it's so bad, purity culture. That's right, because I wanted to spread my legs for every guy that said hi to me, and I was told don't do that. I wanted to sleep with everybody. I wanted to be a filthy whore, and I was told no. And because our world says it's okay right now, there's this whole movement now where women think it's wrong that if you want to know their body count, right? How dare you want to know how many men I slept with? How dare you ask me if I slept with 150 men? And the answer is no, I slept with 200 men. Thank you very much. I mean, you know what I mean? So just because you're told not to do something doesn't mean you're traumatized. And this whole purity culture thing, thinking it's so bad, you're not traumatized because you're told wait until marriage. Because throughout most of history, marriage was seen as honorable between one man and one woman, and sex was supposed to be reserved for marriage. Number one is to create children in stable homes, because it was always a well-known fact that children who grew up with a mother and father intact in the home fare a lot better than single moms or from, you know, deviant parents. Okay? It's a well-known fact. It's established. Everybody knows that. Throughout human history, it's always been this way. I mean, it used to be seen as dishonoring for a girl to lose her virginity when she was a kid. But today it's accepted. So, you know, for what we considered, you know, usually wholesome and pure, today we call it purity culture. I see nothing wrong with that. So what? Don't be a filthy whore. Don't spread your legs for everybody that comes by and says hi to you. You don't need to start sleeping when you're 17 and by the time you get married, you have 30 guys under your belt. I mean, come on, really? You know? But hijacking this thing here, just because you want to be a spoiled brat, because, look, if you want to be a filthy whore, go be a filthy whore. But see, you're traumatizing me by calling me a filthy whore. Well, a whore is, by definition, a woman who has multiple sex partners. That's what whore is. And as a man, I think a girl who sleeps with a bunch of dudes is filthy. I think it's disgusting. I mean, do you know that every man you sleep with, you actually, you know, part of his DNA becomes a part of you when he does that to you? You literally are becoming part of every man you slept with. I mean, and the fact is, your vagina looks like chewed up bubble gum, and you're like, oh, I'm a good girl. Shut up. No, you're not. When you got 15 babies running around with 16 baby daddies, come on. You're not traumatized because you're told don't do stuff like that. You're not traumatized because you're told to, hey, don't steal, don't murder, grow up, be a productive member of society, get a good job, get married, have children. If you think that's traumatizing, it's not. Actual religious trauma is when you're using religion as a means to actually abuse people. Telling people not to fornicate isn't abuse. Just because you want to fornicate, telling you not to isn't abuse. Okay? It's when you're using people to gain something for yourself, to gain control, to manipulate people, to gain a following, to get money, whatever it is. When you're actually abusing people, when gaslighting, all these things, when you're lying and all that is actual trauma. You could traumatize somebody. When you're physically abusive somebody in the name of religion, that's trauma. When you're telling somebody and you're gaslighting, making them think things that are not true, trying to control them emotionally and manipulate them to do what you want. Now that's trauma. Because it's not about the truth. It's not about, being good and wholesome and holy. Traumatizing people is, using your religion as a means to beat people with. And no, telling somebody not to premarital sex, telling somebody the homosexuality, and look, the data is there if you want to see it. Just because they're telling you it's not harmful, it is. Because that's where we're at right now, right? It's all this religious trauma from people who either are slut or they're gay. That's really where we're at now. You don't find people that say, you know what, I was taught, there are people that grew up in religion who turned away from it that don't say they're traumatized. They found the value of the religion. They just don't believe in it anymore. Okay? But we have to be honest with ourselves and just say this. You didn't like what you're being told. Versus I got a message from a guy who was involved in deliverance ministry. What happened to him was traumatizing. Okay? This was traumatizing. He was locked in a room. The comment about vaginas was disgusting, sir. But it was so disgusting, you actually sit there and type it out. I think you enjoyed it. It's supposed to be disgusting. That's the point. But I think you liked it so much, you had to sit there and actually type it out so you can see it again. You know who Lord rebuke you is, guys. But anyway, so this guy was locked in a room, not allowed to eat or drink, and they sat there smacking him and hitting him until he puked his demons out. That is trauma. Okay? That is religious trauma. When you got these fundamentalist Mormons running around literally marrying children, having children do these disgusting, horrible things to them in the name of their religion, that is religious trauma. When you're raping and molesting and harming children in the name of religion, that is religious trauma. Okay? When you're trying to destroy somebody but with your religion, unnecessarily, like when you're trying to, put somebody in jail, using religion to do that because maybe whatever. When you're trying to, take away the financial stability of a home, when you're trying to take parents out of the home, when you're trying to take children out of the home, and you use religion as a means to do that, that is religious trauma. Because usually the people that are causing it trauma are usually doing so because of the benefit they gain from it. Because the fact is that everybody's traumatized by something in this world. We all consider and cry about things and say we're traumatized. Sometimes it's legit, sometimes it's not. To me, I think when you laugh about child sex abuse, I think that could be traumatizing. If you're a Christian and you think child sex abuse is funny and you laugh about it when somebody's giving their testimony or talking about it, I think you're a disgusting pig. Because there's nothing funny about child sexual abuse. Whether I experience it or not, it doesn't matter. There's nothing even remotely close to fun. And if you're able to laugh at an adult who has sexually abused a child, I think that screams a lot about who you are. And these are flags of predators. And yet we in churches ignore all this. We ignore this. When Reuben died, how many people latched on like vultures that are trying to take his spot, that literally try, and I'll use me. Now, again, I'm not going to say we're traumatized from it because I'm perfectly fine. But this can be, religious trauma, if you want to equate it to that. That when Reuben died, everybody because again, obviously I was mourning for my friend. Okay? Taking advantage of that to try to gain control or power or manipulate to get what you want can have a traumatizing effect on some people. Me, it did not, because I don't care. But other people, taking advantage of somebody in a grief-stricken state to try to gain something or gain power, control, is horrible. When JK lied about us and John literally trying to turn people against with his lies, that could be traumatizing to some people. That could be an example of religious trauma. And by the way, just because somebody's not necessarily traumatized doesn't mean that the people doing it were not guilty of trying to cause religious trauma. The pastor just told me here who, what's that pastor in Indiana? The one that, that was, molesting a 16-year-old girl. She was traumatized. Not only was she traumatized, but the members of the church traumatized her further when she went to confront the pastor when she was an adult and married and called him out in the church. Okay? She stood up and the church said how much, right in front of this girl, as she talked about, and she was honest and tearful. And she said, what you did to my body when I was a kid, I can never recover from that. And that pastor stood there and the church sat there in front of the young lady and just stood up and called him out for this. And they talk about how much they love him. It's easy for us to sit here and say to people, we look at God, not man. But put yourself in that woman's shoes for a second. Her only experience with God would be from the man of God who was molesting her and hurting her. And then she confronts him and the church rallies around the predator while the victim watches. And you think that's not going to have an effect on somebody's faith? Are you kidding me? You can't in one breath tell me that you're the ambassador of God in one moment and then say, we don't look to man, we look to God in the next. What a double-minded, hypocritical thing to say. You can't claim to be the man of God and then claim, well, don't look at me, look at God. Because some people's experience of God is going to be because of you. You represent God on this earth. You don't get to claim you do in one sentence and then don't in the next because you're being called out because you're abused or whatever it is. It's the biggest thing of hypocrisy I've ever seen in my life. And there's people out there. I mean, look, I'm a street preacher. People say all the time that guys like me cause trauma because I stand in a group of people that I don't know and I tell them things the Bible says. Okay? That's not religious trauma. Religious trauma would be taking your dogmatic LGBT met nonsense and pushing it on children, trying to turn kids into sex objects and then claim you're not doing it. That's religious trauma. Religious trauma isn't always Christian either, by the way. Let's be honest. Satanic Temple, Mormonism, Jehovah's Witness cult, what they do to people is horrible. There's deliverance wackos. I got pictures of Greg Locke that somebody sent me of these guys literally holding down children with their knees in between their shoulder blades, holding them down. Of women on there, and they're smacking their rear end saying, come out, come out, come out. Smacking people. You got, what's that guy? What's his name? Todd Bentley, literally laughing about kicking some woman's tooth out of her mouth, relishing in punching people. That's religious trauma. Okay? But we need to understand that you deconstructionists, we get it. You love sin. We know that the Bible says it. But you weren't traumatized because you were told, don't do that. You're just a spoiled brat who doesn't like being told no. I have a 3-year-old that doesn't like being told no either. Is he traumatized because I'll say to him, hey, don't open the fence and run into the goat pen with the goats? Is that causing trauma to my 3-year-old son because he gets upset when I tell him no? When we tell him don't open the back door and run out there without one of us going out with you? Is that going to cause him trauma because we told him no? Because that's essentially what most of you people say. And it takes away from the real victims of trauma, the women and the men who were actually abused. That young man of that pastor showed you a little bit ago, that man is going to be traumatized from a religious figure, because that little boy, well, I think he's a grown-up now, was a pastor figure who used his position as pastor to tell him, hey, while I do this to you, don't tell anybody you're going to go to hell. That is traumatizing. When you're victimizing people, not telling them no, but when you're actually victimizing them and using religion as a cover for your abuse. When you're telling people, if I do this to you, you're going to go, that's traumatizing. We need to stop with the feelings nonsense. Well, I feel. Grow up. Grow up. Listen, you want to be a sinner? Have at it. I'm still going to preach you the truth regardless, but I'm not going to try to make you do anything. I'm going to preach to you the truth. I'm not putting my hands on anybody. I'm not going out there dragging people and saying, do this or do that. That's not my job and it's not my place. I have no desire to do that. I would very happily just like to go out, preach, have conversations, and go home. No violence, no physical altercations, nothing. I would love nothing more than that. And to be honest, most of the time, that's what happens. I don't really get into physical confrontations with people. It doesn't happen all that often. I've only ever been hit a couple times, and that was down in New Orleans. That's pretty much it. I think I got slapped once in the back of the head by somebody at some event, but they ran off. So I'm not going to go dropping and chasing them down for that. But for the most part, it doesn't happen. So if me standing out at a drag queen story hour telling you to stop shaking your, tell the dude who's dressed in women's underwear to stop shaking his junk in a child's face, if you think that's traumatizing, you're retarded. Okay? But when you use religion as a cover to abuse people, it's like the Catholic Church used to do, because they used to have women stripped down to check for witches. They didn't really care. They just wanted to see a naked woman, and were using their religion as a means to do that. Because you got to remember, back then, women covered up because their body was reserved for their husbands. There was a violation to do that. But these men wanted to see them naked, and they used religion as their cover to do so. That's traumatizing. Not telling somebody don't do something that you know is going to cause them harm. That's not traumatizing. Telling somebody wait till marriage is not traumatizing. Telling somebody that the dangers of hellfire is not traumatizing. Or are we going to go around telling murderers, hey, listen, if you murder that person, you're going to go to jail. Are you traumatizing the murderer because he'll go to jail for his crime? Really? There are plenty of religious abusers out there. But we need to understand reality from fiction, true victims from fake victims. The fake victims, listen to their stories. Everything is about how they feel about something, not an actual experience that traumatized them. When a man is smacking when they're in, saying, come out, because he's trying to exorcise your demons, understand this. More than likely, what he's doing is he's just trying to touch a girl's rear end because he likes it. And he's using that, I'm trying to get these demons at you as a cover for me to touch your rear end. Because only in religion are you allowed to do that and get away with it. Because any other circumstance, a man putting his hand on a woman's rear end, that guy would probably get knocked out by the woman's husband or boyfriend, right? Let's be honest here. Okay? That's the truth. No preacher should ever be putting his hand on a woman's behind, ever. Under any circumstance, no excuse. Doing so violates her body. Doing so violates her. The only woman who's behind a man should touch is his wife's. And that's when she's okay with it. You should not be going up to women in your church and smacking their rear ends. You shouldn't be grabbing the front and putting your hands on women's chest. All in the name of religion. Because you're getting off on it, you sick pervert. When you're paddling people and hitting them and whipping them, locking them in rooms, choking them out. This is trauma. People that have that happen to them, that is trauma. Like guys like Eric Love, JT, those guys cause trauma to people. Because if you don't do what we say, we're going to try to hurt you. We're going to try to, these guys, they call your family, they're intrusive. They try to, they try to strip you away of your dignity and everything else. That's trauma. This isn't just about sin and calling somebody out in sin. There's a difference. There's a line there. Okay, there are people, and look, again, I say this all the time to people. You know, you can't tell somebody who doesn't believe in God to look to God and not man. Because either we are ambassadors of God or we are not. You can't claim when things are going good that you're an ambassador of God, but then when you do something bad, well, don't look at me, look at God. You just told me you're the man of God. Now you're telling me you're not the man of God? Which one is it? Because people are going to judge God based upon you. Okay? They're going to judge God what they see from you in your life, in your ministry. And if the people see nothing but abuse, if they see nothing but slander, if they see nothing about like that deliverance garbage where they're trying to smack women and touching women, when you find out that the church have covered up sexual abuse, when you find out the Southern Baptist Conference is calling women whores after they've been sexually abused, and people see that and you're going to go, don't look to them, look to me. Well, these are supposed to be the men and women of God. These are supposed to be God's ambassadors on this earth. They are a representation of who God is according to you. And you're telling me don't look at them, look at God. Well, how am I supposed to know God? Why, if God doesn't want people to be represented of him, then why does he have preachers? What's the point? Why doesn't God just yell out from heaven himself? Why have us do it? Why doesn't God just say, hey, you guys, stop it? No, he uses us. And people take advantage of that because everybody wants something. Not everybody, but most people, they want to be part of something bigger than themselves. They want to know their life has meaning and value. And if there's no God, your life really has no meaning and value. Because if there's no God, then literally, what's the point? Because you die and then nothing. Most people that die, you're never going to know who they are. Throughout history, a lot of people died throughout human history, and you'll never know who most of them are. And if there's no God, that means their life was inconsequential and meant absolutely nothing. Which means you can do whatever you want, and it means nothing in the end. It means nothing. That means that man gets to decide what's right and wrong, what's moral, what's not moral. Which means that there's no such thing as religious trauma then, because you know what? We get to make all the rules we want. People say all the time, religion is bad, right? Christians, oh, I'm not religious. I have Jesus. Let me tell you, Christian, something. James 1:27 actually says religion is not a bad thing. Religion that is pure and undefiled before God the Father is this: to visit orphans and widows in their affliction and to keep oneself unstained from the world. When you are unstained from the world, that is pure and undefiled religion. When you're visiting and helping take care of widows and orphans, that is undefiled religion. So all these people are trying to make the claim that religion is bad, I'm spiritual, whatever. You're an idiot. There's nothing wrong with religion. Pure religion is a good thing. But I want people to understand this. I understand there is actual victims of religious trauma. There are real men and women who have been victimized by people who claim to be Christian. There are real men and women out there who have been truly victimized. And not just because they were told don't do something or save yourself till marriage. I mean, to sit there and think that traumatized you, it really just tells the level of depravity your mind is at because you were told don't be a slut. And that traumatized you. The word slut traumatized me. The word slut simply means a woman who has a lot of sex partners and gets paid for it. No, slut means they don't get paid for it. Whore gets paid for it. So if you're sleeping with a bunch of men and not getting paid, that literally by definition makes you a slut. And the only trauma it causes is because it's true. If you sleep with multiple men, you're a slut. If you're doing it and getting paid for it, you're a whore. That's what those words mean. Okay, just because you don't like them because it describes you doesn't mean that it's traumatizing. It's traumatizing because, again, we redefine things in this world today because of how our feelings. Well, I don't like that you said that it made me feel bad, therefore I'm traumatized. Which, again, negates from somebody who had an experience that didn't just make them feel bad. You're talking about actual abuse where they were physically harmed, emotionally and mentally harmed. Feeling bad isn't traumatizing. There are some things we should feel bad about. But when somebody is having somebody put their hands on them, when they're being sexually abused, when they're being told, you let me do this to you, take your money or else whatever, that is actual victimizing somebody. When you're trying to take away somebody's livelihood, when you're trying to cause people to be destitute, homeless, simply because you don't like them, that under the guise of religion, because you want what they have or whatever, that can be traumatizing. That makes you a victimizer. And at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. People that cause religious trauma are victimizers. And telling a sinner to stop sinning isn't you being a victimizer. You're not trying to victimize anybody. But when you try to victimize somebody, when you try to hurt somebody under the guise of religion, actual harm, not my feelings are hurt, that's trauma. And we need to recognize that there are people who have been abused by religious people out there. There really are some. And these yahoos out there, these ex-evangelicals and all these other weirdos out there that claim purity culture did so much damage to me and I'm so free from that now. Really, what's your body count? Ever since I got out of it, I have slept with 53 guys and it has been extremely liberating. I have a problem. Yeah, with penis. No, see, that's traumatizing. That's why I hate it. See, you made me not want to be religious because you told me I can't have more penises than the urinal at Yankee Stadium. That causes me to feel bad about myself, and therefore it's traumatizing. Well, hey, whatever. See, when you can walk away from a conversation nobody's forcing you to sit there and listen to, you think you're being victimized by walking with somebody, when you voluntarily go listen or whatever. It's like people that come to my YouTube channel, listen to what I have to say, and then claim, he's victimizing me. I didn't ask you to be here. Nobody's forcing you to watch what I have to say. He told me I'm going to hell for my lifestyle choices. He told me I'm not born this way. Oh, God. See, this is why I hate religion. Because they're telling me that if I do what I want, I'm going to hell. Yeah. You can do that if you want. Look, I'm not going to go chasing you down and telling you that. You come here, I'm going to tell you. You have an event in public, I'm going to go there. I don't go to people's private homes, and I don't do that. But yet, if you look at the LGBT group, they'll tell you, Rich Penkoski is such a hateful monster. They'll tell you that Rich Penkoski, he threatens people all the time. And yet, you'll find that you can't find one example anywhere. I mean, I record everything. Not every, but every major preach I've gone to with a drag, whatever, has been live streamed by myself and many others. And yet, you will never find an example of me threatening anyone ever one time. Ever. Matter of fact, I had groomers get a restrainer against me because they said that they felt threatened because I shared 2 Bible verses critical of their lifestyle. And they sat in a court of law under oath and literally said, they've never had a conversation with me, have never met me, we've never talked, engaged, nothing ever where. The only time I've ever been the same place as them was twice, and that was when I was across street at a Pride event preaching, didn't even know who they were, and at a public meeting where I spoke and then left. That was it. They admitted that on the stand, and yet somehow or other, we shut down that Midland, Texas drag show. Not because of any threats of violence. Matter of fact, that whole idea of threats of violence is a lie. If you go to the news, it was shut down because, why? There were safety concerns from the landlord about the event. Not because there's actually any death threats. As a matter of fact, the last time one of these groups claimed they were getting threatened with death threats, when they called the police like, no, we don't have any reports of any death. It was all a lie. And yet, we are so concerned with people who lie that we have literally compromised everything about ourselves because we're so afraid of being labeled this. These people lie about you. They lie about Christians. They lie about all of us because they don't want us to do what we do. And they know lying about us makes most of us go, okay, I don't want these guys to see me as a bad guy. I want these guys. I want these guys to know that I love them. So I'm not going to do what these guys do because they don't feel the love from them. I'm going to make them feel my love. And that's what we've turned into. And that's why other people say, see, it's those loving Christians because they accept me for who I am. And the other guys that don't, they're the ones causing me trauma. The church is the biggest enemy to itself. So I hope this clears up a little bit about virtue signalers who, and again, this isn't a comprehensive thing because I'm not a psychologist, but I can just tell you from what I know and how, when you look at different things and you look at people who are told, hey, listen, don't be a slut. And they say that's traumatizing to them. Really? But they don't quite say it like that, of course. They're going to come on there saying, and I saw this recently, that's why I'm saying this. Purity culture was so traumatizing because I was told from a very early age that I should not have sexual relations until I am married. I was told that being gay is a sin and that I will go to hell if I do these things. And it caused me so much trauma. The only traumatizing effect it would have on you is because you want to do them and feel bad about doing those things. That's it. And again, trauma isn't something just because you feel bad about it. Trauma there's an end result in the damage it has done to you. Not telling you not to be a whore is a good thing. Because regardless of what the world says, it's stuff like that causes disease and all these things here. You think about this. And I'm using it because it's an example I heard in the last couple of days. If we actually lived according to the biblical principles of sex and marriage and these things, think about this. If we actually did what God said and live that, one man, one woman, we do not have sex outside of marriage, that the only person we ever have sex with is our husband or our wife, depending on if you're a man or woman. If you actually live that and don't cheat and only that person, there'd be no STDs, would there? There'd be no AIDS, no syphilis, no gonorrhea, none of the other diseases. They wouldn't exist. It's by being promiscuous that diseases get, and that's how they get passed around. So you see, by telling you not to do these things, and if you do these things and get what do they call it, HPV, and you pass around, you're actually traumatizing somebody by being a whore. You're passing your diseases around. And I don't know about you, but there's some diseases that are pretty traumatizing. If you're peeing blood and fire, that can be pretty traumatic. Okay? I'm just saying. So if we actually did those things, there's nothing bad that's going to happen to you by waiting to get married to have sex with somebody. There is nothing bad that will happen to you as a result of that. Nothing. Matter of fact, I would say it's a benefit to you, man or woman, that if you wait until you're married, you have that much more respect, that much more deeper affection, and more unity probably with your spouse. Because everything about each other is going to be, the wife's only going to be known to the husband and vice versa. There's a comfort in fact that knowing that no other man or no other woman has ever had this, that this is unique to each other. There's a benefit there. And you see, when you're traumatized, there's no benefit to trauma. But there is a benefit to telling somebody wait before marriage. If everybody did that, if everybody actually lived by purity culture, there'd be no diseases. There'd be no adultery. There'd be no child molesters. But we live in a society today that says if you wait, it's traumatizing. Even though the benefits of waiting outweigh the cons. But somehow telling somebody not to spread their legs for every Tom, Dick, and Harry is traumatizing? Give me a break. Then you have these people that say, I feel like I'm a homosexual, right? And you tell them, no, that's wrong, you're going to hell. You're not, there's no benefit. And again, this is the truth. There is absolutely no benefit to you or anybody else, society, for being gay. There is absolutely, and again, this is the truth, whether you like it or not. I know some people can say this is causing them trauma, but the fact is, there is nothing abusive about this other than you feeling bad about your sin. Because those things have no benefit to you, to the person you're engaging in the behavior with, or to society at large. Nothing. There is nothing beneficial about it. Matter of fact, it's nothing but bad things. Because homosexuals tend to be drunk, they tend to drink more, they tend to have more partners, which again, diseases, they tend to, drugs, anti-anxiety medications, all these things here. And rather than just say it's because of your lifestyle, it's because you told me it's bad. Well, that's a lie. Because in other cultures and societies today where it's largely accepted that nobody really gives a problem, all those rates of disease and depression and anxiety and drunkenness, they're all the same. Across the board, whether society is against it or for it, those numbers don't deviate. They don't decline. They're pretty much on par with each other, which is proof that the lifestyle itself is what's causing those issues. But again, you can't claim trauma for somebody trying to keep you from doing something that is not going to benefit you in any way, shape, or form, or benefit society around you in any way, shape, or form. You know, I ask it for years. I have asked at every single Pride event I preach at, every single drag queen event, I said, I will pack, and I mean it. I said, I will pack it up and go home right now. And I've been doing this for years, and no one has ever given me an answer. I said, I will pack it up and go home right now. I will take my equipment, I will walk off, and I will leave. If anybody here, just one person, can tell me one benefit that the LGBT, MAP, QR, HIV, whatever you want to call yourselves, give me one benefit that you offer to society that no other group can offer, that is unique to you, that benefits mankind in any way. Nothing. There's nothing. There is nothing that they offer to society. Nothing. I've had one try to say art. Well, yeah, but the greatest artists in the world were straight. So, no, that's not a benefit. And art isn't really a benefit to society. It's nice to look at, sure. But most of the people are straight. Something that is unique amongst you that you should get special treatment, special class, and be told, don't do that. What good comes out of this lifestyle? What good comes out of being gay? What good comes out of it for anybody? What good comes other than you benefiting for how your feelings? Because that's really the only thing that happens is your feelings. That's it. Because when you sodomize somebody, guess what? And this is also in a straight couple and women too, men and women. Rectal prolapse is a real thing. It's a real thing. I mean, literally, the anus is filthy and disgusting. Poop comes out of there, and you want to go putting stuff in there. It's gross. But again, it's not traumatic to tell you not to do something like that. Would you tell a child to pick up a turd and put it in his mouth and eat it? Of course not, but you'll encourage somebody to put their mouth on someone's rear end. Go look on the CDC, you'll see. These people get an infection called shigellosis. And you don't really hear about this, but this is hush hush. It's a parasitical infection they get from ingesting fecal matter because of their lifestyle. Go look it up. Here, I'll do it for you. I'll pull it up right now. I'll go ahead and I'll get it for you. Okay, and the reason we know this is because okay, let me minimize that. Wait, no, I need that to go. There we go. Okay. We know that because the CDC, right? Trust the science, says so. I'm going to show you right now the proof of this. Screen capture. So people understand. Again, I say this because this is right now the biggest issue facing our society. Okay. So here we go. Let's take a look. Here's the CDC, shigellosis. Okay. Look at the cover right here. Look at this. The center, look right here, cdc.gov, right? This isn't a biased Christian thing. And look what the picture here is. It's two dudes. Did you know diarrhea germ, shigellola, can be spread? Right. Okay. Cause an infection, shigellosis, from one person to another. It takes a small amount to cause the illness. Right? So, who is at risk? Gay, bisexual, other men who have sex with men are among groups at high risk for infection. This infection is called shigellosis. Shigella germs spread easily and rapidly among people, including during sexual activity. Men who have sex with other men are at risk for infection with this antimicrobial resistant Shigella. Antimicrobial resistance happens when germs like bacteria and fungi develop the ability to defeat the drugs designed to kill them. That means the germs are not killed and continue to grow. Shigella germs are increasingly resistant to antibiotic treatment. So how do they get it? Anal, oral, I don't want to repeat that. It's because they ingest, feces, objects, right? Sex toys, condoms, barriers, and douching material, right? Shigella, right here. Passed from poop. Poop. That's how you get it, from poop. Fingers of one person to the mouth of another person. It's right here. And it's on the CDC website. I'm not making it up. Look, you can see it yourself. Look at it. It's nasty. And this is what we're trying to push on our children and saying, this is normal, it's healthy, and it's right. You should do this. But when you tell these people that they shouldn't do this, that there's a risk to it, the disease rates, they'll tell you that you're traumatizing them. That's made up. It's not trauma. There's nothing traumatizing about trying to keep people from getting diseases from ingesting feces. I mean, really. Okay. I mean, that's the truth. So when you're trying to prevent people from being harmed because they don't like you telling them that, they'll say that's trauma. That's not religious trauma in any way, shape, or form. Unless we're going to say that the CDC causes trauma by putting that information out there. You see what I'm saying? It's not trauma to cause somebody that you're saying things to try to cause people not to be harmed. But again, when your behavior and your lifestyle offers no benefit to yourself or society as a whole, telling you not to do it isn't traumatizing. When you're trying to protect people from things that will eventually cause them harm or cause the society around people at harm is not traumatizing. But when you do things that actually hurt somebody, that actually tangibly hurts them, you're not telling them not to do something because it benefits them. You're telling them to do something because of what you get out of it. That is trauma. Predators are people who cause trauma. So while you claim you're a trauma survivor because you were told don't be a slut and don't be a homo, the truth is your feelings got hurt because you want to be a slut and you want to be homosexual. And you want people not to call you out on it, so you claim being a victim because you don't want to be told the truth about what you're doing. That's the truth. And that takes away from actual victims, people who are being abused in churches, by pastors, by people that call themselves men or women of God, that are doing things because they're doing things for themselves, to get better for themselves, to manipulate, to control, to actually physically hurt people, to actually mentally hurt people. And no, you're not mentally hurt because somebody says if you do these things, something bad's going to happen to you. It would be hurtful if something bad couldn't happen to you and they lie about it, sure. But we need to distinguish the two and start calling people out on their crap and stop being so sensitive to everybody's damn feelings. Who cares how people feel? The truth is not contingent about how somebody feels about that truth. The truth stands on its own merits because it is the truth. Truth is not subjective and it is not open to interpretation. If we are Christians, we believe that the Bible is the ultimate source of truth. It is the only thing we know to be 100% truthful without any error in it. We can't claim that any book written by any scientist throughout history. Why? Because throughout history, every scientist at some point has been proven incorrect about what they say. So when we preach things, we need to preach from a standpoint of truth because we want people to benefit. We don't want people to go to hell. We don't want people to get diseases. We don't want people to live with anxiety and depression. We don't want that because we know that as a Christian, even though bad things can happen to us, even though there are bad people that want to do bad things, we know that we are always with God. We know we're never alone. We know that God, will help us in our trouble. We know that God will help us when we're feeling depressed or when we're feeling this. And that's why we're not led by our feelings. We're led by the Word of God. Because our feelings can deceive us. Our feelings can trick us. Our feelings can make us say and do things that aren't true because we're giving in to how we want things. And we want to make ourselves feel better. But let me tell you something. The Word of God will make you feel better about any situation. Because when God tells us not to do something, God is not causing you trauma. God is doing it to help you because God knows what's best for the things that He has created. Nobody knows human beings, biology, psychology, better than the being who created us with our emotions, our psychology, our physical bodies. The creator of those things knows those things better than anybody else on this planet. And the one who created those things, the one who created us, that's the one we should be listening to about our welfare and our well-being. Don't you think? Listening to God doesn't cause trauma. Listening to bad men who use God's name, that can be traumatizing. Unnatural lust may come from demons. No, that's not true at all. Lust is a sin of the flesh, not a demon. And we need to stop that too. Not everything is a demon. Not every sin, not every sinner is possessed by a demon. Stop that. Drunkards are not demon possessed. They're drunk. Drunkenness is a sin of the flesh. Lustful people are not full of demons. That is a sin of the flesh. We think because somebody's in sin, they're controlled by a demon. But if that's the case, that means if somebody's a fornicator, they're in lust, that means it's not their fault. It's the demon's fault. Okay? And you can't repent of something. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. So we need to stop saying that. People do things based upon their own choices. Are there demon possessions out there? Sure. But just because you're preaching to a group of people, not everybody there is demon possessed. Okay, I watched a video somebody sent me and saying, look at this. Speaking about, people that have hijacked women's ministry, that are out there literally casting demons at people, and we're, come out, come out. And here's the thing about this, and I know I'm kind of off topic here, I'm kind of all over, but I want you to think about this. When people are there saying, come out, demon, and the demon doesn't come out, one of two things happens. One, either there's no demon there to begin with, which means you have no discernment, or two, you clearly don't have the Holy Spirit, because if you did and you cast a demon out, it would come out. Right or wrong? Right or wrong? Well, that would come out by fasting and prayer. Well, you know what? Then you didn't fast and prayer enough. You shouldn't be on the street then. How about that? But all these yahoos out there running, come out, demon, come out. And the demon doesn't come out. It's because they don't have the authority of God to do it, or there's no demon there to begin with. I've been to lots of events. I've seen demon possession. It's not as prevalent as you think it is. There are people that are oppressed and under a demonic influence. This is true. But not everybody has a demon living inside of them. There's only been a couple of people, like distinctly I remember, that actually had demons. And one of them actually told us. And you could tell, you could feel that darkness around them. It's different than being around your average sinner. But we've got to stop that. I mean, seriously. There's enough evil in the world. We don't need to invent more. And we need to start telling people that you're drunk because you're a drunken idiot. And if you're an alcoholic, and look, it's hard to feel sympathy for people because you're not born an alcoholic. No one becomes an alcoholic until they start drinking. Okay? You have to start drinking to become an alcoholic. It's not a disease. It's an addiction based upon people not being able to control themselves. Drugs, same thing. And I say this as somebody who was a drug addict at one point in their life. It was not a disease. Nobody put my gun in my head. Nobody made me do it. I chose to do those things. Okay? It's not. I never considered a disease. Again, by saying it's a disease, you're minimizing what it actually is and taking responsibility of people for doing those things. And when you do that, you want to cause about trauma. When you do things that to cause people not to be able to get set free from the things that are keeping them in bondage in their life, that are keeping them locked up into drugs and alcohol and all these things here, when you're telling them that, when you're not telling the truth but how to escape it, you could be causing them trauma in that you're enabling them to do these things. And it's your religion, your religious views that are causing that. So before I move on, and got to kind of go to my end stuff here, when you're preaching the truth to somebody and you're telling them things to keep them from doing anything that would harm themselves or society at large, that's not trauma. It'd be like telling my 3-year-old that he can go run around out in the street and letting him do it, because if I don't let him do it, he'll cry and be sad, and that will traumatize him. It's like telling somebody who wants to rob banks, bro, if you go rob that bank, you're going to go to jail. Stop telling me I'm going to go to jail. That's traumatizing me. I want to rob that bank. When you tell somebody to stop, hey, listen, wait until you get married to have sex and tell them the reasons why. That is not traumatizing. There's nothing there's no harm that's going to come from you waiting. But there's a lot of harm that can come from you for not waiting. When you tell somebody you're living in these alternative, as they call it, lifestyles, or these LGBTQRA, tranny, whatever lifestyles, don't do it. It's not trauma. You're saying it to them because you know the end result. You know that, number one, is it's going to take them to hell, but before they go to hell, it's going to be a miserable existence. The reason these people are so miserable, it's not because of you and not accepting them, because even if you turn and accept them today, it's never going to be enough. Because deep down inside, they know what they're doing is wrong. And they need you to validate it for them because they know they can't validate it for themselves. You see, somebody says, what if I told you your marriage wasn't legitimate? I don't care what you think. You can tell me tomorrow, I really don't care. Your opinion about my marriage means absolutely nothing to me. Because my marriage, my views are not contingent about what you think or feel. Because I know what it is. I don't need for you to validate who I am or what I am. That's the difference between you and I. Because I am secure and I know the truth. I don't need other people to validate what I do or what I say. I don't need that. You need that because you know what you're doing is wrong. And the idea drives you crazy. So you need other people to comfort you with a lie that tells you it's okay when it's not. That's why these people are so obsessed the way they are. That's why God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, because he knew if he let this sin go unchecked, what it would do to society around them. God knows what he's doing. God knows what's best for us. And telling somebody the truth about what God wants for us because we know the harm these things can cause is not trauma. But if you use your religion to physically abuse people, to put your hands on women, to smack them in the name of trying to cast demons out, to punch them, hit them, kick them, to sexually abuse them and use your position as a pastor or a preacher or a priest to sit there and tell little Timmy, don't do this or whatever, whatever, that is traumatizing. That is trauma. When you tell somebody to drain their bank account to do whatever for you, that is traumatizing. When you literally cause somebody to lose their home, that is traumatizing. There are real victims. But these virtue signaling people on social media that cry because they were taught to be a virgin until they get married, you're not traumatized. Stop it. Just admit it. You wanted to have sex and you didn't like being told no. You're like a petulant little child throwing a temper tantrum. And you want everybody to feel sorry for you and say, it's okay, honey. Go sleep with who you want when you want. You have the freedom to do that if you want, be my guest. But when you wind up with everything leaking out of you and you're peeing fire and no guy wants you because, again, your vagina looks like a bag of cow tongues, that's your own fault. If having sex with you is like throwing a hot dog down a hallway, that's on you. You have nobody to blame but yourself. But you'll say it's traumatizing for somebody to tell you not to do things that lead you to that thing. And then when that thing happens, it's nobody wants me anymore. Well, if you listen to the man of God who told you not to do those things, you wouldn't be in this situation now, would you? That's your fault. It's not traumatizing. We need to understand the real victims out there and stop catering to imaginary virtue signaling retards out there. And I know it sounds harsh what I'm saying, but sometimes people need to hear a shut up, get over yourself. That message can be very therapeutic. Not always, but sometimes. That's right. Once an addict, always an addict is alive from the pit of hell, because if Jesus set you free, you're free indeed, which means you were an addict, you're not an addict anymore. And I could tell you from my own experience, I was a drug addict. I have not touched a drug, not a single solitary, no marijuana, nothing since the night I got saved. I was delivered instantly from all drugs, any addiction, any desire for it, done. And I have never once, in 20 some odd years, almost 30 years, I haven't touched anything. Not a desire, nothing. So that whole idea, once an addict, always addict, is a flat out lie, because I am addicted to nothing. It's a lie from hell. It's meant to coddle people. We want to make you feel good. No, stop it. If you really want to help people, just tell them the truth. Good, bad, or indifferent, whether they like it or not, just tell them the truth. There is again, Jesse Morrell said something to me the other day. We were down with him, and we were talking about, when ministers ask for donations, right? Because there's a group of people out there that don't like it when we ask for donations. They'll say things like, oh, we're doing this for money. We're doing this for money. When in reality, we do more traveling and more ministry than most people do. Not everybody, but most. When we travel, when we say, hey, we need money to travel, we actually go travel. And yet you'll see several guys, and again, they'll lie because they don't want people to give to you because they want to stop you from doing ministry work. So we were talking to Jesse about that, and Jesse's like, I don't care about the critics. I want to get through the critics to get to the donors, the people that are going to support the ministry, the people that are going to support the things that we do. Okay? So understand this. There are people out there that under the name of God, use the name of God, who are actively trying to hurt you. If you are doing anything for God, the devil will cause more trauma, more religious trauma, more thing. There are more, and again, we want to talk about religious trauma, but you have to look at the people that are claiming they're traumatized. Were the people they claim did it, were they predators, or were they preachers? There's a difference. Predators will traumatize you. Preachers will not. A predator is somebody who they prey on people because of something they get out of it. Something they want. And again, it's not my place to tell anybody's specific story. So I tell things about my life and my experiences because, again, if somebody wants to tell you about their experiences, by all means, let them tell it. It's not my place to give somebody else's testimony for them. But I will tell you this. There are, like I said, there are people that get so crazy because I was talking to a brother today, and we were trying to understand why some of these preachers or Christians get so crazy when it comes to me, that their entire existence becomes about me. And, I know people say all the time, they're sick and tired of hearing about JT Olson, but if you knew what this guy does and has done to me and my family and continues to do it, you'd understand. When people say all the time, stop whining about your little persecutions, when somebody is calling your family, when they're calling to try to have the government strip you of your livelihood, strip you of your freedom, when they're out there lying to people, when they're tagging people, commenting, friending them, sending them lies about you, trying to hurt you, to take away from your family, yeah, they're not doing it to you. You think you don't have to talk about it. You think that you don't have to mention it. But guys like that, if they do it to me, if we let it go unchecked, they'll do it to others. If we say nothing about them, then you know what? If we let them just ignore them, the ignoring predators lets them prey on other people. But these guys, we evaluated what caused it. And it was correcting them where they didn't like to be corrected. Every single one of them was corrected. And they hated it because they had to deal with the fact is they didn't know or, they didn't know or they realized that they were not the epitome of Christianity like they thought they were. Okay. And that's the truth. When you correct somebody who thinks they got it all right. Oh yeah, they called my family. Absolutely. Tried to get hold of my daughter. Eric Love actually was spying on my teenage daughter's Facebook and got caught. And when he goes, it was Rich Penkoski using it. I have never, ever once logged into my daughter's Facebook account, ever. When she was 17 at the time, ever once. It's a lie to try to justify spying on teenage girls. See, that's what these guys do. And other Christians say, ignore it. If I ignored them and didn't call them out because they're mostly irrelevant now, most people don't follow these guys, they know who they are. What damage would they do to other people? What damage would they do? These two guys helped the lesbians in their case to try to make God's word hate speech and then tried to minimize it by saying it's a petty little First Amendment. There's no such thing as a petty First Amendment case. By trying to minimize it, all they're doing is trying to deflect away from their responsibility in it. But it was correction. JT was corrected because I caught him in a lie, and he subsequently admitted he wasn't telling the truth. He admitted it. I caught him in a lie and called him out on it, and he went ballistic on it because, again, he didn't want people to know he's a liar. Eric Love, I told him not to call Drew a retard. That's it. And he went crazy. Why? Because how dare I correct the great Eric Love? Jason Murphy's now on board with this. Everything is Rich Penkoski this, Rich Penkoski that. Jason Murphy was corrected with his idea that Christmas is pagan when I showed him to provide one source to prove that, and he couldn't, and I showed him actual documented evidentiary proof with historical documents dated with the authors, the citations, and showed that it's not, he went crazy. So it seems to me that these predators don't like being corrected, because when you correct them, they have to confront the fact they don't know what they think they know, and because they want control. And I'm willing to do just that. See, God told me early on in the ministry here that I can be a lightning rod for others. And not just like, but guys like that, I can absorb their blows so that they don't hurt you. Because if I said nothing and ignored them like some of these other Christians want me to do, they would prey on other people like you and others. By calling them out like we do, we minimize the damage they do to other people. And yes, while it's annoying, extremely annoying, and because of them, I mean, you remember the time Eric Love literally went on the internet on his YouTube video because he has drag queens and homosexuals that watch him. They repost their stuff. They like them. Literally said, hey guys, this is Rich Penkoski's address if you want to send him something. They literally asked people to come to my house to actually cause harm to me and my family. He wanted homosexuals to come to my house knowing they wanted to kill me, my wife, and my children, and then called himself a Christian and says he's the victim of me calling him out for that. Really? And then helps lesbian. I posted it. And then pretends like he didn't do that. But when this case is over and the media frenzy begins about it being overturned, oh, I'm mentioning them for sure. And I'm going to give the media the screenshots of what they said and how these fake preachers, it's going to be everywhere. And everybody will know. And if you stand with these guys, it's on you. Any proof? Absolutely I have proof. I posted it. Let me see. I actually have it right here. So you've seen the JT one with the lesbians. Let me show you Eric's. Make sure that you can't see their information on here. Sorry, I get in trouble. Yep, there it is right there. You want proof? I'm going to give you proof right now to show that I'll prove my address being out there. Yeah, he did it on one of his videos when I lived on Barnes Road in Tennessee back in a couple years ago. It was taken down off of YouTube because of that. But yeah, he absolutely did it. Anybody that watched him knows he did it. And if he denies it, he's a flat out liar. He absolutely 100% did it more than one time. And he always drops hints. I know Rich, because the guy keeps checks on me to make sure he knows where I live. Like I said, when I filed a bankruptcy 2 years ago, Rich Penkoski filed bankruptcy. Well, how would you know that? You're not in there. How would you know that? Unless you were trying to dox me. But again, we're exposing. No, you're doxing and you're using your religion and the type of exposing to do bad things. That makes you a predator and everything else. And if you're doing it to me, you're doing it to other people. That's the truth. The difference is I'm the one willing to call you out for it. And by the way, if you're a Christian that tells other people who are being victimized by people to ignore it, you're perpetuating the victimizing. You are helping them. You're not a Christian. By telling people to be silent about being victimized, you're actually perpetuating the victimization of other people. And by the way, as Christians, just because something's not happening to you, because we know you're Christian, doesn't mean it's not happening to others. If you think that persecution isn't happening to Christians in America because it doesn't happen to you, maybe you need to step it up a notch. And by the way, talking persecution doesn't mean you're whining about it. Paul wrote about his persecution several times, what happened to him. But you see, people don't want you to talk about the truth because then they can't talk bad about you. Frontline preachers, if you think that I'm lying about it, the video was taken down. There's no way I can give you proof right now. It was removed. Just go on his channel and look at all the videos he said about me. Look at what he calls evidence. Strip out his narrative and look what he says, and you tell me everything the man has ever said about me is a lie. Everything. There's a reason why people do not preach to them anymore. He literally stalked me in Tennessee, came to Tennessee where I live, and went to the abortion care farm where I preach and was asking questions about me at that abortion clinic because that's where I preached. And the people there told me it was really creepy because all he wanted to talk about was you. He was asking about you. It was really creepy, they said. That happened. He posted a picture of him standing there and posted it so that everybody knew he was where Rich Penkoski preaches. That's a stalker. That's sick. And anytime something happens in my name, watch. There's 3 people when my name is mentioned. Eric, JT, and Stacy Miller. You'll never see these people. Well, Stacy Miller specifically will never talk about God or the Bible or Jesus. You'll never see her talk about anything until my name is mentioned. And he followed me. That's true. He did. He followed me around Atlanta. Literally. It was like climbing up my back. Yeah, he hasn't talked about a while now because of because of the restraining order thing. Oh, it's not a matter of moving on. Again, so you want me to just ignore it, pretend it didn't happen. The guy, I'm dealing with something he did now with the restraining order thing because he helped those lesbians. It's not just about me. He tried criminalizing the Bible. And he still runs his mouth just because he's not making videos right now. He will, but give him time. He runs his mouth on Facebook about me. People send me screenshots. He's still doing it. It's not a matter of moving on. The guy's an evil bastard. Okay, and you telling me to move on when the guy I'm still dealing with a court case because of him today. You know, you want me to let him victimize others by what he's done? Are you kidding me? These guys are great examples of how bad it is because by ignoring them, again, Christians have short-term memories. Let's be honest. Go look at other people's Facebooks and the comments that he writes about me. All right? Believe me. I have no, my job here is to stop him from hurting others. And again, you're ignoring the fact that this guy tried helping child groomers. Literally tried helping people who were sexualizing children to silence the Bible. Like in court, actually sent the messages to get them to get a restraining order against me for posting Bible verses and then claims everybody made a big deal about it. Liberty Counsel, Rutherford Institute, Fox News, CBN, and everything else. See, why is it we always have to provide proof of everything, but no one else ever does? All you got to do is go on other channels where they talk about Christianity, and if he pops up, my name's mentioned. It does it all the time. And if you think I'm lying, then why are you here watching? See, you want to, again, I understand this, and I want to be careful to say it because I don't want to accuse you of anything. But again, this is an example of trying to tell somebody to ignore and move on from what somebody has done to them. And, for 3 to 4 years, literally followed me around Atlanta it felt like he was trying to hump me, climbing up my back, literally bumping into me from behind, walking around, following me, trying to find me, dedicating himself, and then sat there for 3 hours talking to a woman about me and videotaping it. I didn't make accusations. If you were around, you'd know this. It's not an accusation. It's the truth. I actually have the proof right here about him helping the groomers. You want proof? I'll show it to you. He tried helping the groomers. Here's this thing right here. I'll show it again. You want proof? Here's proof. Okay, there's his proof right there. That's him sending those groomers a message. You serve, right? Drag queen lesbians. Why would any Christian do that? And then claimed it was a petty First Amendment case that was blown out of proportion, making it a bigger deal than it was. When Liberty Counsel, Rutherford Institute all said that this would chill the speech of every Christian. He did that. And you think we're just going to move on from that when he literally, this case could have an impact on every Christian in America. And that's not just me saying it. That's my lawyers, Liberty Counsel, and even LGBT groups have said, I know, go watch. LGBT groups have said, I know there are LGBT people celebrating this, but we need to hold on a second and realize what this actually means, even for them. That fact in of itself should tell you that guy's a reprobate devil. Because as much as I can't stand him, I would never help a homosexual try to criminalize the Bible with him. I defend the truth. You're not defending the truth. The truth is that you're defending him. If people make an accusation, there should be proof. Can you show that paper again? I'll do even better too with JT. Now I'm going to show you this video here. I want you to hear the lawyers myself, and then I'll show you the paper again. What my lawyer said about this case, so that, make no mistake about it, when they try to minimize the impact of this, when they try to say, well, it's not a big deal, that it's blown out of proportion, it's in the Supreme Court, Oklahoma Supreme Court right now. Well, you'll see here. See for yourself. Now, I paused it there for a reason, because I didn't throw Eric's screenshot in there because that video was specific to JT, but the same messages and the same thing applies, because here is the message. You want to see it? I'm going to show you. Here's the message he sent them, okay? There it is there, his message he sent them, right? So he said he made a video, and even other people who don't like me defending me on that, saying, bro, you're lying about what he said. He said, I said it was a child groomer. I didn't say that at all. I was actually mocking him by doing it, saying, oh, look, we're child groomers. And he said, I said that. But anyway, so that's what he sent them. Who are you? How do you get my name? You served him an op. And the police said your name on his live stream, which is because the police, when they served to me, he was watching. And as soon as the officer said my name, what did he do? He literally jumped in there and contacted them immediately. There's the proof. Let me, so I'm going to interject that here for the rest of this video so you understand. He very much was involved with JT with this, okay? They work hand in hand. So now you'll hear from my lawyers and everybody else about this.
Anybody physically or contacted them directly. He just posted on social media. And the key here is that's where people are speaking today. That's where all churches are speaking on social media. So if they can tell you that because someone felt threatened, the LGBT people, the gay people, that over these Bible verses, if that's it, then if you out on the corner and just talk to people generally about the Bible, you can get arrested now if that's true. This is why this is a very important case. When he contacted me and I looked at the facts, I said, whoa, in America, by quoting Jesus Christ, you can get a 5-year restraining order and put in jail if you speak.
How common is that? I mean, you've dealt with a lot of these cases where somebody has posted not necessarily, not a direct threat, they've posted Bible verses, right? And they've had this kind of a reaction from a judge. How common is that?
This is very rare. I have not seen it. This is the first time I've actually seen somebody quoting Jesus Christ and that being considered a crime. Exactly. And that's what it is. And I've been warning people about this for years as I've seen just general free speech being attacked across the country on social media. You can't say this word, you can't say that word. They take you off of social media. Now the Biden administration actually has issued an order where they're if you give disinformation on the social media, you can be considered a terrorist. Now the question is, are we going to give in to this, or are we going to fight it? At the Rutherford Institute, I fight for free speech across the board, no matter who you are. And that's the point. I may not agree with your beliefs or whatever, but I agree with the fact that you have a right to say those beliefs. And this guy did not threaten anybody. He did not walk up to him. He did not meet him. He did not point a finger. He just posted something on social media. And quoting Jesus Christ on social media, if that's a crime, then folks, what's going to happen to ministers across the country if you say the wrong thing? If you say, well, I don't like this group, and here's what Jesus might have said about that, you can actually get a restraining order issued against you if this holds. We're appealing this case, and we're going to try to set this straight, that this man has the right to free speech and the freedom of religion. If not, toss it out, folks. They're going to cancel Christianity if they want to.
Now, again, I'm very glad sometimes things happen on this channel to show you guys how it works. So you just saw a guy come on here. Now, I showed proof of Eric helping the groomers 3 times. Literally showed it 3 times. And the guy turned around and said, I showed no proof. Then claims that, you know, the videos where it showed the guys outing JT's being on Grindr as for proof when their videos were taken down. And then claims again, lie. And then comes on here and attacks saying, no wonder Brian Kermit had a bitch nothing to do with you. See, again, these people are victimizers. They don't like it when you call out bad behavior like this guy here. The truth is, Brian Cranford and Anna Bishop, the reason why is because when Eric Love came on there and ran his mouth saying that Brian Cranford told him things about me, and, you know, for Eric to make the claims that he did publicly very specific, I texted Brian, and then Brian ignored me after that because I called him out for lying. And then James Weber confirmed to me that Brian Cranford lied to me. And then another sister sent me a message proving that Brian Cranford lied to me, and I called him out. So I'm not one to sit here and justify and excuse people for lying and actually hurting people. Hey, do you have that screenshot of JT admitting we did not make that screenshot of him kissing that dude, whatever? Some guy said, you know, JT saying we made that again, even though we posted proof. Yeah, so I want the proof again to show for the 800th time that he's a liar. Somebody came on and running their mouth saying we didn't show proof when we posted it. How many times? And then Adam Bishop, by the way, is another lie. Like, I can't tell you the amount of times that these guys have lied to me about everything. And the thing, I'm not, you know, again, I know street preachers don't like it because they want you to think that they're all prim and proper. They want you to think that they are God's elite special forces. They're not. Let me rephrase that. There are street preachers that are what you would call elite forces if you had to give an adjective. But they're not part of these groups.
So there's a message from June 24th, 2021 of him telling us about the profile that the homeless.
June, okay. Haha, don't worry about it. I'm sorry I called you a Jezebel. He apologized for calling you a Jezebel and then does it again, right? Yeah. I got caught up too. I truly appreciate your apology. I was wrong about you, and I can see you guys do have a lot of good in you. I hate what happened. Yeah, those homos created a fake profile of me. It was that Mark guy and the beans, I think. He admits it wasn't us.
Right, that's the first time he did it. I'll get the other times too.
Right? Look at the date. He knows it wasn't us and admitted it was done before he even met us. But let me guess, I won't show proof. But anyway, so I'm not one to sit here and allow people to lie about me or you. Because again, on social media, people create an entire persona of themselves. And they present themselves to be something that they want you to be. Most of these guys that claim that, whatever, literally do the same things I do. They just do it in private. They want everything to be done in secret. Talk about this guy, talk about that one. Let's talk about this guy. They want it in private. They don't like the fact that what they told me about Alan Puckett, that he's a lie, that they knew he's a liar, that he's a violent racist and nothing but problems because they had him come to their conference because they want something from him. He doesn't understand that they're using him because they want him to provide security for them. But I know what they said about him. And so do other brothers. And they don't like that. They don't like the fact that Adam Bishop is the one that told me that Alan Puckett was the one who was dishonorably discharged from the military. I didn't even know he was in the military until Adam told me that. I had no idea. But he's the one who told me that Alan Puckett was dishonorably discharged. He told me that. And then when I said it, he's like, I don't know for sure. But like somebody said to me, they don't like the fact that nobody's ever spanked these guys like you have. Because they run around with their YouTube videos, they run around on Facebook, all these guys, and they want you to think that they're the creme de la creme, the cream of the crop. When all of them, these guys that I mentioned here by name, if I ever mention anyone's name in here,
July 4th again.
It's because they're bad news and they're liars. So this is, let me go, because I can see it here real quick so people can see this. So here's JT again messaging us. Let's put it there. There you go. Not towards you guys. And this is when we weren't even talking to him, right? I believe this is kind of, yeah.
I messaged him, like, why are you still saying
that
profile?
Amanda mentioned, I just want to make sure you knew that we had, you had no involvement in the profile being made. We didn't even know you when it happened. The message I got was from someone saying, you said I made the profile. And he goes, yes, I know. The homos made it. Thanks for getting back to me. They live local to me, and they also put raw hamburger meat in my mailbox. He admits that he knows we did not make it.
There's been other times, too.
He admits it, and then goes around and says, so he's just a liar. And then you have guys like that frontline guy say, we showed no proof, but we always show proof. I have provided more proof for anything I say than anybody, and I don't make this claim lightly. I have shown more proof of everything that I say more than anybody else that you know. I had somebody message me and say, I edited the video of Jacob Blankenship saying we said about Ruben. I did make an edit with things added in to make it more funny, but then I also played the original without it. So they lie. And again, I know Christians don't like this stuff here, but you have to be aware of some of these people. And that's why they lie. Because the persona that you see on social media is not, I am who I am. I am no different on this camera than I am in real life. And there are lots of people on here that know me personally. They've been to my house, that have met my family, they've met my wife, they've slept here, they've ate with us, sat at the table and ate with us. Whereas these guys that talk about me have never been to my house. Adam Bishop has. In Cookeville, Tennessee, when I first met him. He did. Brian Crawford never met the guy. Matter of fact, Brian called me when I was at Ruben's funeral. Never talked to him before then. Didn't know much about him before then. But the thing is like I said, another brother called me and said they've never had a guy like you before because I am willing, because to me, I'm not going to unify people just for the sake of unity. That's how things get in trouble, get twisted. I just want to do what God has called me to do. And if people want to be part of that, and I welcome it. I love it. I love being a part of a fellowship. I love having brothers and sisters around me. I love having people that I know are godly influences and people that I can talk to if I need to talk to somebody, if I need counsel. Ruben was one of those guys. David Grisham is one of those guys. You know, I counsel people, yes, but there are times that I still need counseling for some things too, because maybe I'm confused with them. Maybe I need an answer from an elder to make sure I'm doing what's right. Jim Gillis is one of those guys. But again, I have been, you know, what do they say? What's the term? I bring the receipts. Nobody that has ever said I'm a liar ever has given proof that I've lied about anything. Because when they say it, I prove them wrong. Every single time. Like, remember when Eric made a video saying that I stole that guy's artwork? I literally posted the receipts from purchasing it on Etsy. He knows it. He's seen it several times and refuses to admit he lied about that and was wrong about it and won't repent. I showed the receipts. I just showed about JT, because these guys know, guys like Frontline, they don't care. No proof is ever good enough, even when it's black and white in front of you. I can't see it. It's blurry. I'm just saying. I am sick and tired of our faith being hijacked by a bunch of phonies. Whether it's phony street preachers, phony pastors, phony people in the church, they're virtue signaling. I'm sick of it. Because our country is going to hell, and it is going faster. And it's because people like this, they're so focused on themselves rather than God. And they want to hurt the men and women of God. They're not interested in working with men and women of God. They're interested in building their own kingdoms. And they will do whatever they need to do to get there. They will lie, cheat, and steal. And they will hurt you and throw you under the bus when they don't need you. When they know they can't get what they want from you. These people are terrible manipulators. But Christians want unity. But you know who else is going to come, by the way? Do you know who else is going to come and preach a message of unity? Do you know who else is going to do that? The Antichrist. The Antichrist is going to come preaching a message of love and tolerance and unity. Love and tolerance. Just because somebody says unity doesn't mean unity is a good thing. It doesn't. And the thing about social media is we need to know who it is that we're actually listening to. But we're so quick to just say because somebody says something, or because somebody says they're a Christian, that they are one. Because again, you can be whatever you want on social media. You can be anybody you want. You have no idea what people have done, do. That they will come on for instance, they'll come on my Facebook and they will attack and attack and attack and attack until I get sick of it, and then I defend myself, and guess what? When you defend yourself, oh, he's attacking me, because you didn't see the attacks they gave in the first place. All they see is you defending against their attacks. And then they claim to be the victim. Because again, we are a society that just goes by what we see. I had a woman today who claimed to be a Christian, who got mad at me and started running her mouth on my Facebook because of the Dutch Brothers incident, where I and said, I heard the real story and you're a liar. I said, oh, really? I said, I have video, literally have the video that your corporate headquarters is getting, so, whatever. I said, so you claim to be a Christian, a follower of Jesus who hates the drag stuff and all that, right? Yeah. And she's like, she's all mad because I videoed it. I'm like, well, here's why we videoed it. Because you just said you heard the story from a they-them reprobate, and you believe them over me. Because she said I got mad because somebody cut in line. No, the guy tried hitting me and hitting them in front of me and then flipped me off in front of my kids. And I went up to there and I said, you need to direct traffic. This guy's going to cause an accident. I'm going to get hurt. And then he tried plowing into my car again. And the woman cussed me out. And then I yelled at her and I called her a reprobate for doing it. And a Christian told me I was a false teacher. But let's be honest. If I came on here and I said, guys, wait, hold on. I got to get the whole effect, right? We got to get the whole thing. Right? We asked for donations to travel to spring break. We didn't get anything yet, right? We're actually going down to preach. So if I came on and did this, wait, hold on, let me find a good one. Guys, I need your help. Guys, it's so bad right now. I need to go buy a 55-inch screen TV. I need it for ministry because after all, I have to watch it. Because I have to know what's going on in the world so I can tell you about it. And I don't know what to do because I can't afford a $5,000 TV. I really need you guys to donate to help me. Please. Guys, I really need this TV. I don't know what to do. I need to get some more chairs. So that other people can come watch movies in my house with me. See, if I do that, man, I bet you Christian be like, oh my gosh, here you go, brother, here you go. Not realizing that what I asked for was absolutely ridiculous and not necessary for ministry in any way, shape, or form. But all you got to do is throw on some fake tears, put a little emotional music in the background, and bam! It's easy. Believe me, it's easy to get, oh, how about this, right? Now let's use a real life scenario, right? We got Henry out there in Miami, you know what's going on with him. We're going to South, all right, forget that. Let's use South Padre Island. We're going down to South Padre Island, right? I put out last week, we're going down there to preach. We got a Mexican drug cartel, a lieutenant in the drug cartel crying his eyes out twice last year on the beach. We had a crowd around us. A 17-year-old died, whatever. I tell you that story. We say, we're going down next year. We need $4 for a plane ticket. Nothing came in. Now, I say it like that. Now, be honest. Don't give because of this, but I want your honest opinion. If I said that exact same thing this way, tell me it doesn't change your mind. Guys, we have a preach that we need to go to save lives. We have got to get down to South Padre Island in March. People will die if we don't go. Last year we preached, and praise God, we had a lieutenant in the Mexican drug cartel. He broke down and cried. Oh, it was so amazing. Guys, and then, we're preaching to these people about getting drunk. And a 17-year-old boy, 17-year-old, so young, he got drunk. And he died in the ocean. And he didn't get saved before he went. Maybe he did. Maybe he heard us preaching and he got saved. That's how important it is for us to be there, you guys. We need you to get down there. If we don't go, people are going to die. Can you please send me $9,000? I need $900 to get there. I know the plane ticket's only $400, but I need to go shopping on there too. What if one of these kids, I have to buy them something to win them to Christ. You guys, please. I don't know what we're going to do if I can't get down there. I'll be stuck at home with my family. People die because, I'm the only one that can go out there and save these people. I'm so important. But you see, when you play that music, when you put on a little emotional act, you can make people feel bad for you. And you can pretty much ask for the most insanely ridiculous, idiotic things and even genuine things. The truth is we are going to South Padre Island. The truth is that there was a guy in a lieutenant in the Mexican drug cartel who did break down in tears twice, said he didn't want to do this anymore. Dr. Michael Brown even said, I'll help get him out and put him whatever, and I'm going to leave it at that. There was a 17-year-old boy that drowned and died in the ocean last year. He got drunk and died. That's all true. But the way you deliver it will determine whether people give because you manipulated the game through emotional things like that. And then there are people that give because they genuinely want to help. Now, again, I have no, I would love to have the money tomorrow to buy the plane ticket and go. But I don't want to get it by manipulating people to send it. Other people say, well, Rich, do that and you'll get that money. Isn't it more important to do that? No, it's not. The ends don't justify the means. If people are going to donate to do it, I want them to donate not because they heard some sappy story about it. I want them to donate because they see the work that we're doing and they want to help and be part of that and have their fingerprints on the work that we do. I would rather not go than do something like that and manipulate people to give to the ministry so that we can go do that stuff. Because believe it or not, you guys, I at one time, I had 226,000 people that followed me on Facebook on my Words for Christ page, my original Words for Christ page. 226,000. Do you know how easy it would have been to just give a soft, live your best life now, never offend, never hurt anybody's feelings? I'd still be on Facebook with that page. I'd probably be in the millions right now. I'd be making money hand over fist. People would be throwing money, and that's the truth. People would be throwing money at me. Why? Because we're non-confrontational. We're not offensive. We don't offend anybody. We just preach love. Love, love, love. Love, 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 and nothing more. But I don't want to do things that way. I'm not trying to manipulate people to give to our ministry. I would rather never get a single dime that comes in to support this ministry than to resort to, guys, I don't know what to do. Because we're suckers for that. Let's be honest, we're suckers for that stuff. We're suckers for a guy who cries because it's done to make you feel sympathy, and it manipulates you emotionally because when you feel sympathetic, you're going to open your wallet up. People will give to somebody who's crying and saying, listen, you disgusting reprobate pervert, you're going to go to hell if you don't change. Because people think there's more fruit when you're naughty. And God doesn't like that behavior. He still loves you. Don't get me wrong. He loves you. And I love you. And, it's bad stuff that happens. God, Jesus knows he doesn't really expect you to change. He wants you to, but he doesn't really expect you to. Just know you have to live your best life now and come to Jesus, and he'll wrap his loving arms around you, and he'll cradle you and hug you and kiss you on your cheek. And he loves you. People will give to that all day long because they think somehow that's going to win more people to Christ. Instead of if you don't stop this, you're going to hell. You're going to die and you're going to go to hell. When in reality, you may win more goats with the first method, but you're going to win more sheep by being honest and truthful with people. And that is the truth. And for me, I'm not interested in doing things to cater to people. I know people don't like it when we make the videos with JT and Eric. I don't really care because those are two of the biggest predators in the online world right now that are using God as a cover to abuse people and hurt people and literally try to make the Bible illegal. They did. I have shown more than proof. My lawyers have shown proof. My lawyers, have shown evidence of how important this case is. That's what they did. Okay, they're not Christians. They are predators. Dangerous, disgusting predators. When people lie and they use God as a cover for their bad behaviors, I find it appalling. I find that just as appalling as some guy twerking in a child's face. It is disgusting. To use God as leverage to try to manipulate people to give you some sort of power and ego and build your... I find it appalling and disgusting. I think it's horrible when people come online here and they make YouTube videos saying, look at me, I'm the man of God, I'm the woman of God, I'm preaching it. Just because you go street preaching doesn't mean you're a Christian. JK from Church and Speak goes preaching, and the guy is the biggest lying snake I've ever met in my life. I have never seen somebody be able to lie the way he does so comfortably and then go out and invoke the name Jesus. Literally sits in my face and lies. I had Betsy sitting in my kitchen telling me, yeah, JK said you stole the banners. And when banners came in that meeting, I'm like, wait a second, that's not right. 6 people have heard him say it. And he pretends like it's not. Like, I have never seen somebody so be able to lie as comfortably as that man. Ever. But he's a street preacher, so he must be saved, right? So you're judging him based upon his going out with a bullhorn, ignoring the fact that the guy's a lying scumbag. And he is. We're going to ignore the fact that Jacob Blankenship lied to manipulate people because he says going to see Star Wars takes you to hell. It doesn't. I'm not saying that it's beneficial in any way, shape, or form. I'm certainly not endorsing going to see it. But what I'm saying is you're not going to go to hell for seeing it. And then to lie about the substance and the content of the movie to get you to do what he wants, it's a stupid lie, but it's a lie nonetheless. And these guys don't care about the lying? They literally don't care, ignore it, and pass it off like being called up for lies. Not liars, we just lie. Like, how does this pass? How do people who claim to be in touch with God more than anybody else allow this to happen? You know? And Christians are so bad. I mean, I don't know what else. I can't stand the way people who call themselves Christians act. I mean, look, I'm doing a video about this stuff here now, and I got this guy, whatever, is literally fighting. Every time I do a video, there's somebody that comes on and wants to argue and fight with everybody who doesn't agree with his or her perspective on things. They think that they are the epitome of Christianity. They are the elite. They know the Bible. And if you don't know one thing they do, and maybe you don't know your Bible, and they start accusing, and they hijack the stream, and they hijack the thing, stop it. There are people that come in here with the intention of arguing. If you want to argue, take it somewhere else. Because I'm implementing a rule on my channel. And this isn't censorship. I'm trying to teach and edify. I'm trying to talk about real life things, real world things to help benefit the body and help us all. And you want to come and hijack and take the focus off and bring attention to yourself. That is not going to be allowed anymore. This isn't about you. If you want people to watch you in your channel, then make a video and hopefully people come. But you're not going to hijack my channel for your nonsense and your idiocy. And I will give you a warning first, and then you're going to be timed out, and then you're going to be banned from my channel. Because it's not about you. This is my channel. And I will teach what I want, and I will make the rules as I see fit on my channel. You don't like it, you don't have to be here. But I'm tired of people hijacking my channel for their own purposes. This is not your channel. This is not your ministry. And that's not me being a jerk. That's just the way it is. You want to teach? God bless you. But don't hijack my audience for your nonsense. Don't hijack people that are here to listen to what we're talking about and are trying to learn and get educated on whatever topic we're talking about at the time and distract them and pull them out so you can argue with them. You would never do that in a church. Even if you didn't agree with the pastor, every word the pastor's saying. You would never say, hey, pastor, how about this? How about that? You would never do that. But the internet, it's like the Wild Wild West, right? We can do whatever we want because it's the internet, right? There are rules. When I don't do a video just for the sake of new videos. I can make a video every day about whatever I want just to talk. I don't do that. When I make a video, I'm either trying to let you see who I am. That's why I made the video about my farm. We had new baby goats born the other day. I wanted to see, look, new life in the farm here, Run Ranch. And I'm teaching about religious trauma, non-trauma, and then other topics we discuss, what's going on in the world, the Bible, news, things like that. This is what we're doing on this channel here. This is not your channel. This is not your ministry. Who was the first king in the Old Testament? Answer instantly without Googling. No. You don't dictate the terms of how things are run here. This is, again, Saints Construction Family. This is not your channel. You don't tell people what to do. Who do you think you are telling people, do it, answer, do it, do it? Nobody here has to answer to you. You don't get to tell people who's saved and who's not. You don't get to tell people they don't know the Bible, even if they knew the answer or not. If they don't know the answer to that question, unless you know every single thing and every single verse without Googling instantly, you're a hypocrite. So knock it off. The bad behavior stops tonight, at least on my channel and through this ministry. This arguing, always wanting to argue, always wanting to fight. Because, you don't know your Bible because somebody didn't answer you the way you wanted. It's the same thing people do all the time. What's the gospel? And if you don't answer them, well, you don't know the gospel. Well, that's not true. Just because somebody didn't answer you doesn't mean they don't know. Maybe they just don't want to deal with you. Maybe they want to ignore you. Maybe they just don't want to answer you. But just because they don't answer you, don't make assumptions they don't know, because that would make you a bearer of false witness. But again, we know we're dealing with Christians, right? The ones who think they know everything, the ones who are so uber spiritual that they get to decide what's true and what's not true. Right? But like I said, this is not your channel. Answer a question I get by answer without Googling, like I said from the beginning. Most of the chatters know nothing about the Bible. You can't say that. You're bearing false witness. Okay? You're bearing false witness. You don't know every I can tell you, if you tell me sitting right now, you know every single detail of every scripture in the Bible, you're a liar. Knock it off. This is the behavior we're talking about. You want to know why things are so bad in this country? Why people are getting hurt, why people are hurting, why there's so much deviancy, why there's so much decadence, why there's so much lasciviousness, why there's so many false teachers and it's because of stuff like this. Because we think for some reason, look, the enemies of God are more united than we ever will be. Let's be honest. Because every single Christian that we know thinks that we know more than everybody else. And look, I myself have been guilty of that in the past. There are times when I think I know more than this guy, I know more than that. And even if I did, so what? I may know more about this particular subject than this guy, but that guy over there might know more about that subject than I do. Each one of us knows more about something than everybody else. Nobody here knows everything, including myself. Okay, when I talk about something, it's because I've studied that topic. I've studied that whatever teaching we're teaching. I don't claim to know every single thing. I don't have the Bible memorized from Genesis to Revelation. Okay, and even if I did, that doesn't mean I know every detail of every meaning of every scripture. Okay, as much as I'd like to, the fact is my brain, I don't. I have to study like everybody else all the time, every single day. You know, I'm going to be teaching on divorce or marriage. I'm doing a teaching on this whole washing the feet thing soon. And I have studied that Judas, I have studied that John verse. I have read it 1 billion times. And I'm still reading it over and over and over again until I feel confident enough that I can say this, boom, boom, boom. I feel confident now, but I need to, for me, when I study something, I need to understand it in, out, sideways, forwards, backwards, everything before I say it or do it. We all do. And just because I get insight or, revelation about a verse when it's there, not extra biblical, but it doesn't mean, it doesn't mean that I know more than you. It just means I know more than you about that particular subject. Maybe. But there are people that know different things better than I ever could. And that's what's beautiful about the body of Christ, because iron sharpens iron, which means what you know, I learn from you, and what I know, you learn from me, and we learn from each other. That's how it's supposed to be. And, why we can't act like civilized people, I don't understand it, because we have history. Of when they were debating Easter, right? And again, this is whole, the Easter's pagan guys ignore this whole thing, right? And they pretend like it didn't happen, but it did. This is why you notice there's 2 dates to celebrate Easter. There's Western and Eastern, and they celebrate Easter at different times, and it's because of this moment right here. Polycarp, who was John the Apostle's disciple, right? So what he taught, he learned directly from John the Apostle, right? He taught we should celebrate Easter on this day. The Bishop of Rome said we should celebrate Easter on this day. So Polycarp literally traveled to Rome to debate Antecedus, which is Bishop of Rome. They did not come to an agreement. They debated, they talked, they sat down. They did not debate it. They debated it, but they did not come to an agreement. But history records that even though they disagreed, they still had a meal together, right? Because that's what brothers do. And they embraced each other and parted ways as brothers, even though they vehemently disagreed, because after all, celebrating Easter is not a salvation issue. But they disagreed. They went behind closed doors. They had a debate. We don't even know what arguments each other made. We don't know because they didn't record that. We just know they had a debate. But they still disagreed, and we're still brothers, and they still treated each other. And they never called each other a bad name. They never said, "Well, I know more than you." You never heard Paul go, "Well, listen, Bishop of Rome, I was taught by John the Apostle, who walked and talked with Jesus. I was taught with him, so I am more spiritual than you. I know more than you. And if you don't agree with me, you're just an unsaved devil." You didn't have that happen back then, but it happens all the time here. There are some things that would make somebody an unsaved devil. This is true. There are issues that are salvation pending, but there are a lot of secondary issues that are not. There are a lot of issues that Christians fight and disfellowship over that are not salvation pending. There are real issues that are worthy of disfellowship, like oneness and heresy and sin, things like that. But there are things like whether we celebrate Christmas or not. You're not going to go to heaven or hell whether you celebrate those holidays or not. That's number one, okay? But these issues are contentious amongst people because the Christmas is pagan people. They want to throw you into hell and say that if you celebrate Christmas, you're celebrating some God that doesn't exist that you've never even heard of, which logically makes no sense. If you don't want to celebrate Christmas, fine. Don't. But don't, you want to celebrate Easter? Fine, don't. The rapture's another one. There are people that think if you believe in a preacher rapture, you're going to hell. Where in the Bible does it say that? I don't care if it's pre, mid, or post. I happen to hold to a pre-trib position, but I really don't care whether it's pre, mid, or post. I don't even spend a lot of time on that because I really don't care when it happens. I will be ready. I live my life in a way that if it's pre-trib, I'm going, but I am prepared to die for the gospel, for the truth, and prepared to go through tribulation if I have to. Because if it's pre, mid, or post, it doesn't matter. As long as I'm living holy and not sinning, and I'm willing to die for Christ, I'm going to go regardless. So for me, it's not an issue that we should be contentious about. It's not an issue we should be fighting about. No one's going to get saved or not saved based upon the rapture. We want to have a discussion about, like, me and Reuben and the brothers. We would have we would joke around because, again, Reuben was I think he was a post-trib guy, and we used to joke about it. We would bust each other's chops about it, but it was in a lighthearted, brotherly way, and we never agreed on that. I never saw his point of view, never saw mine, but we still joked about it. We bantered back and forth. We had discussions about it, interesting discussions, good discussions, but we were still brothers. Okay. So there are things we can discuss so long as we understand, and that's one of those things. But this behavior of, I'm better than you. I'm no better. And I was just telling my daughter this tonight, I am not a big famous preacher. I am not a Joel Osteen. I am not a TD. Thank God I'm not either, by the way. But I'm just saying I am not. If I had the influence these guys have, there wouldn't be a drag king story happening in this country anywhere ever, because I would use every research, every dime I have, everything I have to stop every single one of these perverts from getting access to our children. I would go bankrupt doing it if I had to. Okay? Absolutely would. If I had their influence and I had their ability and their money to do that. I would use and by the way, I've proven that I would. And if you don't believe me, you can ask Gabriel Olivier, you can ask Michael Straight, you can ask Joe Nicosia, you can ask these guys because I've done it. Okay, and I know my critics are going to say I'm bragging when I say this, but I'm going to tell you this anyway. Okay, when I won a $1.2 million Okay. On my surgeries, I got hit by a car. Now, again, I didn't get $1.2 million. That's what the settlement was. But after lawyers' fees and paying on my medical bills, I wound up with $250,000 tax-free money. $250,000. That was mine. That was the insurance company agreed to pay me. That's what I got. Do you know what I did with the money? You would think that some of the family would have bought a house. And I, in hindsight, it was a really stupid decision, especially since the people that I helped have nothing to do with me anymore. Once the money ran out, so did they. Most of them. What I did was I used that money, and those of you, Sherry McLean, Ryan Chapman, Kelly Chapman, these guys were around during that period of time, so they can confirm this. Aaron Gidgey was around. I used this money to travel the country. My own money I used to travel the country. Not only myself, but I paid for all those guys to come with me. I funded their equipment. I funded their gear. I paid for their plane tickets. I paid for the hotel rooms because before I knew about Airbnb. I paid for the rental cars. I paid for I paid for everything. And you know what happened? Everywhere we went, we shut down the drag shows. Every single place we went. I literally burned through $250,000, taking 5 to 6 guys with me every time, once a month, sometimes twice a month, around this country. I bought cell phones, I bought jackets, I bought speakers, I bought recording equipment, I paid for everything. Why? Because I had the money. You know? If I had Joel Osteen money, every one of you watch this video, you'd be out preaching everywhere because I pay for it all. Because we need that to happen. We need people out there. That, you know, there's a lot of people that want to do things that don't have the resources. But my point was, I'm not a Joel Osteen. I don't have that level of, no, my lawyer got 33 1/3 of that money. And then my doctors got paid and all that stuff. So, well, and I was in New Jersey for about 2 years going through this stuff. So I actually took out a $100,000 loan to live off. In New Jersey, $100,000 is a lot of money. So I lived off of that for a year and a half when I was in New Jersey. Before I got the settlement. So I guess really it's about $350,000, but my lawyer got the rest. But anyway, so my point is that it was telling my daughter, you know, but yet, even without the influence like that, where you're not on TV all the time, yeah, we're in the news all the time, but we're not on TV, things like that, you know, we're still able to get done the things that we get done. God uses a guy like me, right? And to me, it's proof that God works, because without that, I'm just who am I, right? I'm just Rich Penkoski. Who am I? You know, I had a Facebook page. I didn't, you know, who am I? It's not like I have some expert knowledge that none of you have access to. It's not like I have some special revelation, you know, that God's going to give me and not give you. Everything that I know, you can know too. And most of you guys know a lot of this stuff already too. You know, but it's just from reading the Bible. So I'm not special. I'm not unique. The only thing unique about me is the ability to do what I do. And that's because God has given me the ability. God has given me the know-how, and God has given me those things to do that. Okay. You know, it's God that enabled me to do it. So make a mistake about it. When I say, hey guys, we shut down this Drag Queen Story Hour, we did not do it on our own ability and our own power. Contrary to what my critics might want to tell you, we know, and everybody that follows me and actually knows me and talks to me knows, we did not do that because of my own special ability. We did it because of God. We did it because we're obedient to God. God has empowered us and blessed us and given us the tools to do these things. Without him, I wouldn't be able to do it. Because again, I don't have millions of dollars. I don't have a YouTube channel with 8 billion people in here. When I say something, I get 50,000 people watching. Matter of fact, YouTube told me flat out, they shadow banned me because I'm controversial. They admitted it. I've got 18,000 people on the channel right now, and I only got 20 people watching. I've had 40 people watch at the highest so far on this. I should have at least 1,000 to 2,000 people watching, but I don't. And YouTube said it's because of the controversial nature that they have algorithms that actually watch and listen to what you say. And that's why. I mean, you would think about it, though, with all the work that we've done. I mean, all the drag concerts that get shut down, all the fighting free speech, all this stuff. You would think that being out there, that people would be like, hey, what's this guy doing? But it doesn't happen. Why? Because we don't have the influence, and that's okay. But to me, it just shows further proof that God can use anybody, big or small, famous or not famous, rich or not rich. It doesn't matter. God can use every single one of us. Every single one of us. Okay? Okay? I am no more special than you. All you have to do is say, yes, Lord, use me, and mean it and do it. It's not because I have some special anointing you can't have. I am not unique. I am not special in any way, shape, or form. I am simply just somebody who is obedient to Christ. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. I don't hold back. I don't cater to people's feelings. I don't really care what people think about me. I do not care, because what I'm doing is not here to make friends. It's to make disciples. And I'm so thankful and I'm so humbled that just this year alone, we've got 1, 2, 3 new disciples. Within the last 6 months, we have gotten 3 new disciples in 6 months. Okay? And that's what matters at the end of the day. Because when I say disciples, we're not talking about people that just got saved and we leave and go. We're talking about people that are working with us, that we're counseling, they're learning from us, that we're teaching, they're coming out. This is what we're doing. Because that's what it's about. At the end of the day, it's not about how many people follow you, how big of a conference you can have. It's not about trying to say people, look at this, guys, I'm in control of all the street preachers. No, it's about preaching the truth. It's about being effective, and it's about standing against evil, and it's about people not going to hell. Because again, I know people that know me know I'm not but when it comes to the issue of your soul and eternity, if you're going to get to hell, you've got to step over my dead body to get there. Because I am not going to make it easy for you to go to hell if you're around me. I'm going to make it very difficult that you're going to hear some truths that you may not like to hear. That you have to, I'm going to do everything in my power, my ability that God has given me to do to try to persuade you to not go to hell. So if you want to go to hell, folks, you're going to trip over my dead body to get there. I am not here to hold your hand to hell. I am not here to comfort you while you burn in hell forever. I am here to speak to you the truth. And when the soft, dainty, simp message doesn't work, then God's going to send a cruel messenger in, that God is going to send a plowman in to plow that rocky soil, to plow that hardened ground of your heart, to make ready so somebody can come, whether it's myself or somebody else, to plant that seed. That ground needs to be plowed hard to get that soil ready to have that good seed put in there. So if you don't like me because of it, then so be it. But I am not going to compromise, and I pray none of you do either. For friends, for social media clout, for media clout, I will never do it. I don't care. As much as it's nice to have that stuff because you can reach more, I'd rather reach 50 people who are honest and good and want to do these things than 5,000 people who are going to sit there and just be yes men. Okay? So you can think what you want about me as a person. Most of you don't know me that think that stuff. If you want to listen to what people that don't know me say about me, fine. I don't care. Like Jesse Morrell says, I don't want the critics. I don't want people that listen to critics. This is Dave Grisham. This is what David Grisham taught me. This is what David taught me. And he's right, because I didn't think about this, but he's so right. He said, when I say this, it's because David's the one who said it. If you only listen to what the critics of Jesus said about Jesus, you would have a very different opinion about Jesus. If you only listen to the critics of the people that your opinion or not, you don't know. If you only listen to their critics, your opinion of those people is going to be different than if you listen to their friends. If you didn't listen to Jesus himself, and you only listen to the Pharisees, you wouldn't even know who Jesus, you'd think that Jesus was a bad guy. So if that happens to Jesus, it's going to happen to us. But we avoid the critics like the plague because we don't want people to say bad things about us. But if we're a Christian, we're being used by God, it's going to happen, and it's going to come mostly from, because again, when the homosexual group say anything about me, nobody listens to them. Literally nobody. Even the people that hate me that call us Christians don't listen to the homosexual groups because we all know that they lie. Nobody listens to them. It's the religious. It's the people that call themselves religious that are the worst. They're the ones who are going to be your worst critics. And they do it because they're jealous of you. They're jealous of your ministry. They're jealous of your anointing. They're jealous of your fruit. They're jealous of everything about you because they see God blessing you. It's like the scripture says, God will have your enemies sit there and watch while you feast at the table. God will bless you in front of your enemies, and it drives them crazy to see you succeed where they cannot. And the sad fact is, if these guys just got out of themselves and got out of the way, they could be just as or even more effective. They are the roadblock to themselves. If they stopped listening to the enemy and got out of their own flesh and got rid of their pride, they could be doing the same things or more than what we're doing. Instead of being jealous and trying to convince people that what we're doing, or ignoring what we're doing and trying to convince people not to support, which doesn't work anyway. And this is the part I never understood this. Like, for me, it's not hard to figure out. You know, and I know I'm kind of bantering here. But, you know, one of my things is, I feel I have a duty to everybody that follows our channels, follows our ministry, that comes out and supports us, to protect the body of Christ. Genuinely protect, that's why I feverishly will call out liars and sinners. Because I do care about our brethren, whether I know you or not, because I don't want anybody to be hurt. I don't want anybody to be harmed. I don't want anybody to be, I know what these guys do, and I don't want them to do it to you. I hate what they do. I hate how they hurt people. I hate how they lie to people, how they have usurped the name of Christ for their own means. I hate that there are people, and for me, and I'll be honest, I'm going to be straight up honest as we're just talking right now. I cannot understand how people ignore just lies, and like the frontline guy here today. Show me proof, I literally showed him proof 3 times and still asked for proof. You have to deliberately want to be deceived to ignore that stuff. Like, you have to want to be deceived. I just can't understand it. Why people still, there's so much evidence out there to prove that some of these preachers out there are nothing but lying devils who are about themselves, trying to get power for themselves and trying to control people and do things, their way. It's obvious, it's out there, and a lot of people see it, but there's still others that don't. Like, I don't understand. Just give you an example here. I don't understand how all these people who claim to have loved and learned from Reuben Israel are doing what they're doing, and people that claim to love and care about Reuben and think they know him don't care and ignore what these people have done to his name and his reputation and his legacy. I can't understand, and it does. It's one of these things that I think about all the time. Like, how do you claim to be a Christian who reads your Bible and ignore this? How do you claim to not be Holy Ghost filled and have zero discernment about the people that you're supposed to be working with? When 6 witnesses come forward and said, J.K. said you and David Grisham stole the banners, Reuben's banners. When, by the way, his sister, Reuben's own sister, said she wanted me to take first pick of the banners. That was Reuben's sister's wishes. I said no. I said the LA guys should get first pick because they're going to use them more than anybody else. And I don't feel right about me doing it. And they did. They got a third. David and I got a third. And then everybody else got a third. The guys at the meeting got a third. And yet he lied. 6 witnesses saw it, confirmed it, said it, that he said this. And the same people, by the way, that heard him say it, that sat in my kitchen. This is the part that gets me. Sheila was there. Kaylee was there. Okay, Kat was there. I had, 15 people sitting at my table that Bartlesville preach? Sheila, what is about 15 people, including yourself? Dave, Tracy, Amanda, Kat, you, Kaylee. I think about 15, right? I could be off, maybe 10, 15, somewhere around there. Betsy and Mark sat at my kitchen table right here and literally said, why would JK say that he did not say that? I heard it out of my own mouth. And she said that in front of all those witnesses and then goes and preached with the guy anyway, knowing that he lied and did not repent and still lies. How do you ignore something like that? Are you that desperate for friendship and unity that you're willing to excuse gross sin in your camp that you yourself acknowledged and ignore it and then go out preaching with these guys anyway? Do you know what the Bible says about that? For people that read their Bibles, these people sure act like heathen. This is what I'm genuinely putting this out there because I don't understand how you can say, yes, this guy lied. We know he lied. You confess it in front of all these. Sheila was there. Kaylee was there. They'll tell you. She said it. And then goes and preaches with them. And people go, wait a second. She knows he lied. She admitted he lied. She even publicly said it on Facebook. Yeah, he lied. He said this. And then goes and preaches with the guy anyway. How do you as a Christian go out there and stand against evil with evil men? Because people who lie and bear false witness are evil. Are evil. And then having JK try to go to Jim Weber and say, watch this video that JT Olson made about Rich Penkoski, to try to use JT slander against me, literally use that to try to get Jim Weber to hear. Jim Weber knows JT's a liar anyway, so it didn't work. But JK working, trying whatever because he got called it a lie. Instead of, even Eduardo said to me, he goes, why doesn't he just repent? Not Eduardo, sorry, somebody else. That's, in LA. Why doesn't he just repent and just be done with this? Why double, triple, quadruple? I mean, JK told Eduardo, I didn't really say Rich stole the banners. You just heard that because of you thought you heard it because of my thick New York accent. Literally gaslighting the guy to make him think he didn't hear what he said. That is evil. That is evil. And yet these guys are going to preach them anyway. They don't care. How about Adam Bishop calling Joe Lilly's wife a whore? Joe Lilly is a nut. This is true. But just because he's a nut and a false teacher does not mean his wife's a whore. Adam Bishop got bent out of shape because he thought that somebody called his wife unattractive. And he was angry. And rightfully so, by the way. I get it. You don't talk about somebody's wife and children. They should be left out of everything. But he got so angry about a brother who he thought said his wife was unattractive that he went, I will never work with anybody who does whatever. And then for him to turn around and call somebody's wife a whore when she's not, that is a railing accusation. You publicly put out there and said, your whore wife. And I put this out there just now, and I'm sure that most people will pretend like it didn't happen, because that's what we do as Christians, right? We just pretend like we didn't hear it. We pretend that these people are we're sinning. We pretend like we ignore this. But if you call someone's wife a whore when they're not, you are purposefully and deliberately misaligning there. I don't care who the person is, Christian or not. You don't call somebody a whore if they're not a whore. You don't do that. That is railing. That is you can really hurt somebody's reputation by doing stuff like that. But Adam Bishop did it and pretends like he doesn't do stuff like that. He did it. The post is out there publicly. You can see it for yourself. I'm not just making it up. He said it. But man, he seems like a real humble guy on social media. You have the things that this guy has said to me about other Christians, and I'm not going to repeat it. You have no idea who these people are in private. You have no idea how bad some of these people are. No clue. Just because somebody wears a Christian t-shirt and standing there telling people don't get drunk doesn't mean they're saved. It means that they're telling people not to get drunk. Gays Against Groomers are against drag queens. Gays Against Groomers want to get pornography to schools. I'm okay with that. I'm not okay with their lifestyle, and I will never yoke up with them. But if they want to go take pornography to schools, be my guest. But they're not Christians. They're not saved. They're not going to heaven. But they're doing a good work. Shia from Lives of TikTok. I know Shia. I've met her. I've talked to her. I talk to her all the time. She uses some of our content sometimes to go out there and, do what she does. And she takes credit for that's okay. I mean, it's done. It's getting out there. That's all that matters. But she's not going to heaven. She does good work, but she's not going to heaven. She's not a Christian. She's not going to heaven. But her work doesn't mean that she's saved. But a lot of Christians see what she's doing and think, oh, she must be Christian. She's not. So again, just because you stand out there with a megaphone doesn't mean you're Christian. There are people that do things because they want to say, look what I'm doing. They want to be about themselves. I'm not saying he's not saved. What I'm saying is you can't call, and again, because what I'm saying is you can't go calling people whores that are not whores. You can't go lying to people and then claim you're not lying and claim everybody else is the bad guy but you. Oh, Rich is the bad guy. Brian Cranford and Anna Bitch problem is because I called out JT and Eric, because I keep doing it. Because they don't stop. Like I said, JT is worse than Eric at this point. Eric is not whatever, but he still comments and all. I see it. People tell me all the time. Trying to contact my daughter a while ago, put my address out there asking homosexuals to come to my home to hurt me and my family. This guy wanted to put my kids in jeopardy. And you want me to go, ignore him, brother. Ignore him. Ignore him, brother. Stop talking about him. Why? So they can do it to somebody else and actually get somebody killed one day? You had a guy, Alan Pucka, come to your conference who literally laughed about me being sexually abused as a child? And you want me to just go, not a big deal. What are you, nuts? What kind of human being laughs about a child being sexual? Even homosexuals don't laugh about that part of my life. But the Christians do, and it's okay. I expect to be mistreated by the heathen. Totally get it. 150%. But I am surprised at the people who say, I love you one breath, and are hugging you while they have a knife ready to stab you in the back while they're giving you a hug up front. Believe me, I can make an entire week's videos about all the stuff that I know about these people. Every single person you know. The things that they have done, and I'm not going to do that because some of it's private, and I don't know what the lines are for gossip or not with that stuff, so I just err on the side of caution. There are things that are public I'll talk about, but things that I know privately, I will not. So I err on the side of caution just in case. But I can tell you this. Most of the guys that followed Ruben around, not the ones that you see once in a while with him, most of them are pretty solid. But the ones that claimed I love Ruben, he was whatever, are some of the most treacherous, backstabbing people you have ever. I pray that you will never have to deal with ever. Ever. The manipulative, the gaslighting, just the disgusting, nasty, lying behavior of these people. I don't understand how anybody could see them as Christian for the things that they say and do. I don't understand how you can have people come to a conference who laugh about child sexual abuse and then lie about laughing about it when it was done publicly. That's a big deal for me. When you can laugh about somebody being sexually abused as a child, you think it's funny? Guys, we have to accept Jesus. Oh, you were abused as a child sexually? I love Jesus. That's what these guys do. And then they pretend like, and they go on making Facebook videos like, we didn't do that. So at the end of this, what you have to understand is, don't take people at face value. See, me, what I'm doing here, you may not like it, but this is who I am. I am the real deal. As you see me here tonight, I've been on this, for 2.5 hours now? Because this is who I am. I don't pretend to be something I'm not. I'm not going to get on a video here and say, guys, everything's great, humble, love you, blah, 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 and then go running my mouth outside. I'm not built that way. I don't run and do things in secret and go, guys, we have to make these secret covenants, right? We don't want to do this because if we sue this on YouTube or Facebook, guess what? We're going to lose our audience. I would rather people know me as a person, who I am, the real deal. What you see with me is what you get. Okay? And if you think me doing this is sinful, by all means, give me the verse that says what I'm doing is sinful. In proper context, is it gospel? No, because what I'm telling you is done publicly. You know, and people will say all the time, oh, Rich, you're just whatever. I don't care. You know what? When you and your family have been hurt by people who claim to be your brethren as much as we have, every person with the exception of Brian Crampton, I don't think I gave Brian anything. I gave Adam a $400 microphone to help him. Never even used it. I gave him a YouTube channel to try to help because I loved him and I wanted to help him, you know, get the message out there. All those guys that I give all that money to when I traveled, none of them around me. None of them. Matter of fact, one of them vehemently lies and stands opposed to me. Keith Dalton. Those guys are mostly irrelevant now because people saw it for who they are. It's a cult what they got going down there in Jackson, Mississippi. But none of them have anything to do with me anymore. Not a single solitary one of all those pictures you see of those guys, all the news articles you see of the guys preaching me, and all those years ago, the drag concerts around the country. Once the money ran out, they were all gone. Once CPS started coming after me to try to do whatever, because, you know, and they lost, they were all gone. They left me to myself. The minute things got rough, the big bad street preachers, the big bad guys who will give their life for Jesus, the minute actual persecution came, they bolted. They were gone. They were gone because they were afraid of it happening to them. Do you think they never liked you, knew you for money? I don't know about that because when I met those guys, they didn't know. I remember I was known on social media. I had a very big social media following, and I was in the news literally all the time for traveling around, shutting the drag queen stores down. So I don't think they used me for money. Some of it's my fault because I'm the one who said, I have the money, I will pay for this. That's on me. Okay. So I don't think that because they can't, you know, they didn't know who I was prior to meeting them. They knew who I was on social media and the news, but not personally. The first time I met these guys, we went out to dinner. It was in Mobile, Alabama, that preach. We went out to dinner and I paid for dinner. And I said, what do you guys need right off the bat? And I said, what do you need? Because I didn't know street preachers back then. I didn't know about the jackets and the shirts and the bull. I didn't know about any of this stuff. I didn't know street preachers existed. I had no idea who these people were. But I saw them coming out there. There's this group from Jackson, Mississippi, with the jackets and the t-shirts and the signs and the bullhorn. And I'm like, I want all of that. What is that? Where do you get it from? And they told me, and I said, I'm going to get it. I said, I was so excited. I was literally like a fat kid in a candy store. I was so excited to meet Christians that are, for me, it was like, you know, because again, I was in the news being attacked. I was so happy. I said, what can I do to help you guys? I remember sitting in the restaurant, what do you need? And like, well, you know, our sound recorder got broken, or, you know, the cell phones because they record and stream. I'm like, I will buy it. I will get it. I was so happy that I just wanted to fund everybody's ministry. And I did. And we did so much amazing, praise God, so much good work. And then all of a sudden, Keith Dalton says, you guys can't go preach with Rich anymore. You need to stay home locally. And I said, whoa. And I think it's because the news started affiliating them with Warriors for Christ and not his church. And I thought for a second, a pastor has that much control over you that he can dictate the tenets of your preaching and tells you, even though what we're doing, were literally shutting down the drag shows, exposing everywhere we went. They ceased, and they still don't do it. But their pastor said no more. And they listened and obeyed their pastor. And I said, that's a cult. That's a cult. When somebody can dictate that to you, that's a cult, man. And then all of a sudden, the woke people at CPS said, hey, and we called them, and I got put on a list after that they can never bother me again, whatever. They were gone. They were gone. Because they were afraid that CPS was going to, because they all had kids. When I needed, let me tell you something, you guys. When I needed my brothers and sisters, when my wife and I needed them more than I've ever needed anybody in my life ever, most of the time I've done things on my own in my life. This is the one time in my life that I really needed my brothers and sisters. They bolted. And my wife, and I'm being straight up honest with you. My wife and I felt utterly alone. That the very people that we were so excited to work with and preach with and labor with and helped and everything else and loved as brothers, and when we needed them, when it got tough for us, when they came to try to take my kids, and the exact words were to stop me, thank God I had cameras in my house to prove they lied and everything else. And then you got guys saying, you're not persecuted, you're whining about it. Yeah, let somebody come into your house, take your kids, and say you react. Fortunately, I got him back quickly when the governor himself stepped in and another senator. But the point is, my brothers, everybody left us high and dry. Until the case over, we got our kids back and won. That cost me, by the way, another $5,000 for a lawyer, which sucked. He did nothing. I pretty much did my own, but it doesn't matter. But they left me and my wife to deal with this on her own. No prayers. Nothing. Nobody called to say, how are you guys doing? And these guys knew too, because they were in Houston texting me because I was going to cancel my trip to Houston. That's after we just outed that pedophile down there, that drag queen that, not supposed to run a sex offender, that a kid, and it canceled it. But this is what God told me. You have to go. Because if you don't go, this is what the devil will use. So I went, and these guys knew what was happening because I was a mess. I was down there with these guys. And I couldn't fully concentrate because I was worried about what was going on at home with my daughter, but I had to go because God told me to. These guys saw what was happening to me, and not a single one of them, nobody said, brother, what can we do to help? Not a single solitary one of them ever said, hey, brother, you know what? Let's go in here and pray together. While they were with me, they saw me pacing back and forth, calling lawyers, doing this, calling the governor, calling the senator, doing this, doing that, anxiously pacing back and forth, trying to get some kind of answers. What's going on? What happened? What can I do to fix this? They were there. They saw me in that. They saw what it was doing to me. And they did nothing. These are supposed to be our brothers and sisters. And when the going got real tough, they were gone. And my wife and I learned a very valuable lesson that day. They were gone. And we did it on our own. Well, not our own. Let me rephrase that. Because when it happened, and again, I know I'm going on 3 hours, but I'm going to tell you the story. I don't care. I'm going to tell it anyway. When it happened, we had cameras all over my house because the death squads that were driving my house, they were sticking them in my front yard, doing all that stuff. So we had cameras all over my house. We had them inside, all that stuff, right? We had every area of my house covered. When CPS came to my house, we actually forgot about the front door camera. We didn't have the camera in our living room. We had it at the front door. But the microphone was so sensitive, we forgot. It picked up. So when CPS in my house, when they were at my house, we said, what do we have? We have the recording. And we paid for the membership, not the membership, the thing that were save the videos from the Nest thing, whatever. And I remember we had it. So CPS comes in. We had no idea this was happening. CPS comes in, and they gave me a piece of paper saying we're taking the kids. I'm like, what? Only my two oldest ones. And we subsequently found out they're working with, my ex-wife who abused the kids. That's why I had them. But she's like, oh, I'm bisexual, and Then they found out who I was because initially we called them to help us, but when they realized who I was and what we were doing, and things like that, and of course my oldest, being in the state she was in. When they made accusations, she went with it. So they listened to what my ex-wife said. They listened to this, and they came and they took my 2 oldest daughters. My daughter Brielle, I went to the courthouse. I literally got her back the next morning. We literally just said, nope, she's come back with us. My daughter Ariana, they kept, and they wanted to convince her she was bisexual. It did not work, just for the record, but they tried. She said to me, because the foster care worker actually became a friend of ours and said, I'm defending you. And she did. She defended us in court and everything, because when she met us and talked to us and talked to Ariana and Brielle, she actually became our ally. Governor Lee stepped in, another senator stepped in. And I remember the foster care worker, she said, she's like, I was watching Jeopardy with my husband, and all of a sudden I was going to get popcorn or something or food for, and she said, I heard a voice on TV, and she goes, I know that voice, and it was you. Because I was standing at a school board meeting, standing against, what was it? When they were trying to push Islam in the school there. And she goes, and I heard your voice. She goes, I couldn't believe it. And then a senator and sent her an email, and the governor got involved, and she called me, and she's like, you weren't kidding. She goes, I know a lot of people make a lot of claims, but these people emailed me and said, what are you, nuts? And she showed me. And she said, you really do have some friends up there. I'm like, I don't lie. And then, of course, we found the recording. It was about 3.5. I still have it. No, I don't have it anymore. It was on my old YouTube channel, private, and I took that down. But anyway, so we had it. 3.5 hours of audio. We got it. And I said, wow, we got it. So then all of a sudden they changed out the caseworker, because I demanded the manager and the CPS supervisor. We talked for 3 hours, and she said, I didn't know any of this. So they fired the guy off my case, made him do whatever. They brought in a woman outside the county who came in her house, and she said, where are the notes from when they interviewed you? I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, your interview, when they told you about accusations that you're whatever. I don't see any notes in here. I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, didn't they interview you and tell you about this stuff? I'm like, no. We knew nothing until they took the kids. We didn't know anything. And she goes, you kidding me? We said, no. So she's like, so they took your kids, didn't interview you, because she goes, again, you don't just necessarily believe what people say. That's why CPS is there to do investigations. And as it turned out, what they were doing was they were hoping that if they took the kids and could do what they did, that I would stop preaching against the drag queen stuff, and I would stop going so hard against the LGBT stuff. It didn't work, because as it turned out, I was completely and fully exonerated. They actually deleted all the stuff out of their file and just said, we have no record of you here. But they did manage to put my name in a system that if any calls come in on abuse allegations, it gets rerouted, so I don't ever deal with them again. That's the story. I have a stack of papers this thick. And you know what the worst part about it is? We went to a lawyer with all this. I mean, we sat in that lawyer's office, my wife and I and my daughters. We sat in this high-powered lawyer. I mean, it was the fanciest office I have ever seen, with a stack of papers this thick. And we sat there for hours talking to the guy. And he went through it and he said, oh, yeah, this is bad. What they did to you was terrible. They absolutely 100% violated your rights. But he said, here's the problem. No one has ever won a case against CPS in Tennessee. I said, what? He goes, because what was done to you is bad. This is how the Supreme Court has viewed things in the past historically. He goes, and I looked for cases. When I knew this was coming in, I looked. And he says, they err and say, yes, what they did to you is bad. Absolutely horrible. But you got your kids back. But if we rule against CPS, it will limit their power to kids that actually need it. So for the one bad thing they did to you, they help like 10 other kids, something like that. And he said, I would take this case, but you would be a test case. No one has ever won a case against CPS in Tennessee. And then we started finding out across the country, it's the same thing. CPS has unlimited power. And then, of course, he found we did in Bartlesville, the rest is history. But so ultimately, we got the victory in that. And thank God for cameras. Thank God for the cameras, because it saved our butts. We got our daughter back, and the damage was done because of all that. But regardless, but my point in all that was these Christians, these big bad street preachers who are going to give their life for Jesus, who will stand up there and get arrested and do this. The minute, and it wasn't even, by the way, CPS never bothered them. They thought that simply being by affiliated with me, that CPS would come knocking on their doors next. And they said, I don't want them taking my kid. And they left us high and dry. And I remember hearing it, and my wife will confirm it. And I said, really? The same guys will give their life and get arrested and do this and do that? And they left us to deal with it on our own. So we learned a lesson. But here's the thing, you guys. After a couple of years, we met Ruben. Ruben, great brother. But the people that are around him, So, we meet Ruben, and Adam Bishop's the one who got the. Adam told me, listen, don't listen to what people say about Ruben. He's like, listen, Ruben is a good guy. Ruben himself is not the problem. And Adam even said this to me back then, way back then, years ago. He said, it's the people that are around. And then I started hearing the same thing. It's not Ruben, it's the people around Ruben. That's what everybody kept saying. It's not Ruben, it's the people that are around him. And even to this day, I've heard it from, 50 to 100 people so far. Okay? 50 to 100 people. It's not Ruben, it's the people around him. And at first I'm like, okay, whatever. And I met Ruben. Ruben came to my house, and instantly my daughter Lillian, Ruben's like, saw Lily, and Lily, he's like, oh, Lily has a smile you can't say no to. So she goes, can I have one of those little Bibles? The little Bibles we carry around, the little street preacher Bibles, which mine's right here, actually. I took it in my bag from the last preacher at. She goes, can I have one of those little Bibles? And Ruben, sure. And he gave her one. I was like, wow. And then he sent lollipop. But anyway, he asked me, he's like, brother, I'm thinking about doing my show. We had lunch, and John was there, and Manny was there. And I took him upstairs to where I do my videos, and where I was doing the videos, and he said, how do you do it? And I showed him. At the time I had like 3 computer monitors, I had a nice tower, and the keyboard and everything else. And I'm showing him the software, the linear software, and he goes, brother, can you just do it for me? And I said, you know what, I think I could. And then he flew me out to LA to go set it up for him, help him get it set up and that's how that started. And I started working with Ruben, and Ruben and I got close really fast. Well, Ruben started telling me that people were complaining about it because, right, I just met Ruben. He asked me to host soap at our house in Tennessee. He says, I think this would be really good because you have the animals. People can bring their kids. And he goes, I really think this would be really good for the brethren to have a fellowship conference for everybody. And you got the whole farm thing on it. We can do it outside, like a tent. And I think it was Manny's suggestion that we do like a tent with the animals running around. I said, yeah, man, that's really cool. So we asked Amanda what she thought, and she said, yeah, that'd be great. We'd love to serve our brothers. So now Ruben, just meeting me, asked me to host SOPA. Anyway, Ruben and I started going to, he flew me out to LA. We really started talking a lot and really getting to know each other a lot. And, Ruben became somebody that I became very close with. And then Ruben started telling me that people started complaining to him about it. And then Ruben started saying there was somebody, he never told me his name. There's speculation about who it was, but he never told me their name. He said, there's people that are saying, why does this guy have your phone number? Why does this guy call you? Why is he on your show with you? Why does he get to speak inside on SOPA? Why does he host SOPA? You don't even know this brother. You just met him. And Ruben's like, but here's the thing. You're vetted. Like, you're in the news. Everybody, just type your name in the internet. You'll find out who you are. So he knew. And he's like, people are upset because of how you got the speaking slot already. You got this and that. We're friends like this already. And he goes, people were mad about it. And he's like, people say he doesn't take counsel from anybody. And Ruben's like, no, he won't take counsel from you. He comes to me all the time with questions, and we talk all the time. So don't think just because he doesn't take counsel from you, he's not taking counsel from everybody, just you. So, and I started working them. And then I got my first taste of John Williams, who he really was. Came to my house. Ruben flew to my house to Tennessee to dedicate Abel. And we were honored to do that because we asked him to do it at the next SOPA because he asked me to host SOPA again. And we said we could just do it there. And he said, no, this is something special that we need. It needs to be a thing of its own. I said, what? And he goes, I'm going to fly out. I'm like, what, really? And he did. And he flew out there. I'm like, wow. John Williams came out. I thought it was great. But then something happened at my house, and I didn't think much of a time because Ruben dealt with it. But looking back after everything that's happened, I went, huh. So Lily for Christmas wanted the little baby Yoda doll. She didn't know who he was. She just thought he was a really cute little thing, Grogu, whatever, So I got it for her as a toy, right? She really loved it because it was cute. Kids are dolls, whatever, right? So John comes over, and Lily has it, and he goes, I'll give you $50 if you throw that in the garbage. And my wife and I are like, what did he just do? I mean, we got her as a gift, and she didn't want to do it anyway. And then Ruben kind of stepped in and is like, that's inappropriate. You can't come to his house and do that. Remember, he stepped in and put the kibosh on that. And then afterwards, right, it's Las Vegas SOPA. I didn't, we had a brother out there preaching for the first time, and he's never been preaching since because of what JK did to him, by the way. But anyway, I didn't go that year, because it's my kid's, Brielle's birthday was New Year's Eve, and I wanted to be there for her birthday. I always want to be there for my kids' birthdays. So on the way back from that SOPA, Ruben calls me, and it was from Vegas back to LA. And he goes, brother, I got to talk to you. I said, yeah, what's up? I thought he was going to talk about Vegas. I had no idea what was about to happen. He goes, I just want you to know, first of all, I want to tell you, nobody was talking about you. And I said, okay, well, that means they were. He goes, but there was some concern. John Williams, he had raised some concern that you took your kids to see Spider-Man. I said, yeah. And he goes, and he said there's nudity in there and there's sex scenes. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, John was talking to JK and he was talking to Lavelle's and he's talking to me and, they want me to call you. And I'm like, what? He goes, yeah. I'm like, but you just said they weren't talking about me, but here apparently they were talking about me. Like there was a whole crew of them talking about me because I took my kids to see Spider-Man. I said, Ruben, have you seen the movie? He goes, no. I said, do you really think that I would take my kids to a movie with sex in it? It's a lie. That's not in that movie. There's no sex in it. That's a lie. They used a couple cuss words like ASS and SA. I don't remember. That's how trivial it was. But I said, I got 6 free tickets and I took my kids out and had an afternoon with me and my children at the movies. We had popcorn, soda, and everything else. And he's like, listen, I'm just letting you know that, it's a problem. And this has the potential to split this in half. And I said, how? Is this really what we're going to argue about? I get some people don't like that and all that stuff, but you can't really tell me that this is going to split people in half and cause us an issue because I took my kids to the movies. I said, oh, yeah. So then John Williams was trying to set up a whole intervention for me where they were going to have JK and the Lavelle's, and they tried to get David Grisham on the phone, to do a Zoom call with me to do an intervention, right? They were doing this all behind my back. They were all talking about this, plotting about this. John had poisoned the well already about it and everything else. Nobody even asked me about it. They were talking about it without me. Nobody called me. Nobody asked me about it. Nothing. I get a phone call one day saying this. Now, Dave, I only knew about it because David told me what they did was they misled him into thinking it was going to be a call to discuss Ruben's health. But when he found out what it was, he goes, I want no part of this. So they misled him into thinking what it was. And I said, I'm not going to do that. And they got really upset because I wasn't going to sit there and give into this. I'm like, why would I go with a coalition of people who apparently have been planning this and talking this for over a month and be ambushed? What am I, an idiot? I said, no. And so that and that changed things. Literally changed everything. As far as, John and I go. And at that moment, I realized this is not right. I'm like, this isn't right. And that's going to get my first taste of the Pharisee of this stuff. And, John and I met down in Florida, and he apologized, and I knew it wasn't genuine. And you can ask David Grisham. I said, I don't think John Williams meant what he said about apologizing. I don't think it was genuine at all. And it wasn't, but obviously it was true. And it did. It almost split in half because there were people that were really upset that they made a huge deal out of this over a movie that honestly was so inconsequential to me. I just had an afternoon with my children that there was no more thought about, oh my God, I just couldn't believe it. And then, of course, you had Eric Love make his video, oh, Disney's evil or Marvel, whatever. People are so ridiculous with things sometimes. Making a video talking about the contents of my children's bedroom when he's never been there, which is kind of weird. I never did a video of my kid's bedroom either, which is really weird. As it turned out, Mary Ruska's like, hey, he's got Disney stuff in the bedroom. So what? My kids have Barbie dolls. Big deal. They're girls. But have a woman come to my house and then go run to Eric Love and tell him about what's in my daughter's bedrooms is kind of creepy, don't you think? And then make a video about it? It's kind of sick too. But anyway. So that was my first taste, right? And again, though, I kind of backed off SOPA, to be honest. My wife and I said, you know what? We're not having the... And after what Mary Rusk and Daniel did to us after they came to our house, running around telling people that my kids are going to grow up to be whores because they were wearing tights as they were climbing trees for little girls, saying they're going to grow up to have abortions, things like that. Literally taking pictures off of my kids climbing trees in other people's homes and saying, look at this. You know, my wife and I decided, yeah, no, this is bad. Like, these people came to my house. And we were warned about Mary and Danny before, and hey, they're not there for good purpose. We're like, Danny would never do that. And I defended him. I said he would never do that. But my wife said, we're not doing this. There's no way we're doing this again. These people are what they did is so bad. And you notice we haven't held the sober since. Now, Ruben asked me to do it the one time, but of course it was when I moved to Oklahoma and John stepped in and said, no, I don't think they should do it yet. They're not ready. And Ruben, oh, okay. As if John knew. Like he misled Ruben to make him think like he talked to me about it and never did. But whatever, it's stupid. But the point is that, you know, we learned, again, when we open ourselves up to allow other Christians into our life, sort of, this is what they did. SOPA is dead. I agree 100%. It's dead because, and I'm just telling you guys everything you want to know. I'm telling you. You know, when Ruben died, everything changed. As much as we don't want to admit that, it's the truth. Because too many people are worried about carrying on Ruben's ministry. Look, nobody can be Ruben Israel. Nobody can do what he did. There is no carrying on his ministry. He did what God called him to do. Just as I do what God calls me to do, and you do what God calls you to do. Ruben himself said he doesn't want little Ruben Israel running around. That's not what he's here about. There's video of him out there saying that when I die, it's over. It's going to be with the next guy. That's what he said. You know, but him and I were in Salt Lake City right after a preach. Ed Descanio just left. It was just him and I at the Airbnb. We were sitting at the kitchen table and we were getting ready to leave. It was our last day there. We're sitting there and we were just kind of talking about future plans for the website and the ministry. You know, what we want to do. And, you know, and again, we're going to go ahead and do the website, what Ruben wanted to do. It's going to cost me about $1,500. But we have enough to do it now. And what Ruben wanted to do is he wanted to take the website and make it into like a street preacher school, if you will. Not like a, you know, courses where you take whatever. We're going to kind of do that. But he wanted to make it with videos of the old time street preachers and some of the wisdom to forever have it for posterity for younger preachers. Because like Ruben said, I'm not going to be here forever. But the things that he knows how to do a police, and he's done videos about that, but he wanted to do like in-depth stuff. And have it on the website so that when YouTube goes down or Facebook goes down inevitably, we're not allowed on these platforms anymore. We have those things. And that's what he wanted to do. So I said, okay, well, we'll do that. And he's like, we'll come out, we'll shoot video at your house, we'll do these things. I'm like, all right, cool. And we were talking about, you know, when he's not here and he, you know, he talked about when he's not here, what's going to happen to everything. And he always worried about, you know, things splitting and it did. He never said to me personally who's going to lead. He hinted that it was going to be John Williams, but I'll tell you why. What he told me was this. We were sitting at that table, and he said, in no uncertain terms, JK cannot lead anything. And his exact words, verbatim, were, for crying out loud, the guy can't go anywhere without his wife. He can't lead anything. That's what he said. And he's like, who can do this? You know, you got a family, and, you know, John Williams has money. That's what he said. He has money to travel and pay for things. He didn't actually say, I want John to do it. He just said, but John has the money to do it. And he stopped short there. That's what he said to me. You know, and then, you know, when the whole video came out, when they made that video 2 weeks after Ruben dead, you know, condemning Cindy, going after Cindy, which, by the way, Jennifer Arvis, what she did was horrible. After everything Cindy did for her, threw Cindy under the bus. It was disgusting. But anyway, regardless of that, after the video came out, you know, I said nothing. And everybody kept calling me, Rich, when are you going to say something? When are you going to say something? I said, not now. It does not seem appropriate for me to say anything about this when Ruben's not even in the ground. We didn't have his funeral yet. I don't feel right. The man's not even in the ground yet. So I said nothing. I was quiet. And everybody was waiting for me to say something. And I said nothing. I literally said nothing. Okay? You can look that up. I said nothing. So we get to the funeral. Dave and I drive all the way to Los Angeles for Ruben's funeral. We get an Airbnb. We get there. It's like 1 a.m. JK walks in and we're tired. Ruben just died. We're tired. And JK, we're sitting at the table. We had a pizza because we didn't eat yet all day. And we get there, and JK goes like this, and the people he brought with him surround me at the table. I'm sitting here, and I'm sitting like this at the table. JK's sitting to my right, Dave's sitting all the way to the left, and I had all these people, Alan Hines, surrounding me. I'm like, what the heck's going on here? And he starts going at me to go to this stupid meeting. I said, no. Hi, buddy. Look how cute he is. You want to say hi? That's what I say hi. Literally just says hi. Whoop.
Hi. It's me.
I'll show you. There you are.
Hi.
Can you say hi, Sheila?
Hi, Sheila.
Hi, Kaylee.
Hi, Kaylee.
Say hi, friends.
Hi, friend.
Say hi, ex-sinner.
Hi, Exeter.
Say hi. Let's see who else is on. You could say hi to. I don't know these people's names, some of them. Say hi, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Say hi, Tiffany.
Hi, Tiffany.
Say hi, Shockwave.
Hi, Shockwave.
Say that again.
Hi, Shockwave.
Huh? Go ahead. Leave them here with me. They're okay.
Papa.
Abel, they're all saying hi to you.
Just say hi. Hi.
They're all saying hi to Abby.
Hiya. Hiya. Hello. Guess what?
Don't pull too hard. Don't pull too hard.
Say hello.
Go ahead. Say hello.
Guess what?
What?
I love you.
Aw, I love you. Say Nova. Say hi, Nova.
You.
Say hi, Anna.
Hi, Emma.
Hey, easy, easy. Don't pull on that. Don't pull on that.
Hi. Get out my business.
Get out of my bed. You're so cute. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hold on. The sound just went out.
Hi.
Hold on, guys. Something just happened.
Hi.
There we go.
Hi. Hi. Hi.
You guys want something funny?
Pet all my
Don't
sinners.
pull. Don't pull that. They can hear you.
Pet all my sinners.
Repent, all you sinners.
like
Good
one-
job, buddy.
Like one of his sisters, can't remember which one.
He looks like all of his sisters.
I love you, kids. I love you, Lily.
Can you tell everybody what you were playing with outside yesterday and today?
What was I playing outside? I was playing baby goats outside last night.
Right? The baby goats, they were born. You watched them be born? And then what did you say when they were born? You said,
Love them. No, he said, I love them already.
You said, I love them already. And what's the names of the baby goats?
Olaf.
Olaf, what else?
Timmy.
We were just talking about Reuben.
Yeah, I know. And I love you, Ruben. I was trying to scare them off.
Lily was Reuben's favorite, by the way. Right? Would you say? Is it fair to say you were Reuben's
Dad,
favorite?
come to my poo.
Yeah. What?
Come to my poo. Come to my poo.
You went, I don't know what. I don't know what that is.
Come,
You guys made it.
come to my poo. I want the wet poo.
What, buddy?
The wet poo.
They're just saying hi.
I want my poo.
Let's see the baby. No, they're really tiny, like they were just born.
Dad, can I say hi?
If you want to, sure.
Or,
You're right here. Don't pull that.
baby, stop it.
Gotta say hi.
Hi. You can't see it on there.
I
Oh,
want
Lily?
there's no like live preview on there?
Yeah, there is, but that's the
I want the
comments
wet poo.
Oh, is there able to...
I want the wet poo.
right there.
Hi.
Hi.
It's been a while since I've...
Say hi, Jose.
It's been a while
Jose.
since I've been on there.
Yeah, he's in Texas.
A hot minute.
Who's in Texas?
I want the wet one.
AB, can you tell me? Luke, Kaylee says hi.
Hi, Kaylee.
AB, what's this?
Oh my god.
What is it?
Feel that?
Wait, is that
That's a real
live?
grenade.
Is that live?
No, it's not live, but it's a real grenade.
No, like, is it like...
No, it's got it was drilled out. What is
Okay,
that?
good.
Yeah, you think I'm gonna leave a live grenade up here?
Oh, no. No. How delayed is it?
Brielle and Julie are outside helping with the goats.
Yeah. Dad, I want the wet poo.
Here, how about this, AB? You want this? I'll let you hold on to this.
Do they know the
How about this
birthday?
microphone?
Pet all my sinners, guys.
Repent, all you sinners.
Dad, do they know the bird's name?
Hi.
Do they know the bird's name?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So, so Brielle recently got a bird.
Hello.
They saw the bird because he's on my shoulder last Sunday
His
night.
name is Ham. Alright.
Beautiful.
Me
Pet all
and
my
me and Lily
sinners.
are also got birds.
Repent,
Parakeets.
all you sinners.
But like they're so
Guys.
scared.
We're so beautiful.
Repent. And say repent, all you sinners.
Pet all my sinners, guys.
Hey, princess, look at you sneaking in here.
Abel's saying the right thing. I might go back.
You know what my kids do, by the way, that's really awesome, that's really funny? Why pets do you have?
Beautiful, guys.
So, guys, what other animals do we have besides goats?
It's so beautiful.
Sheep,
Dogs,
cats,
birds.
emus,
Birds.
birds.
We
Ducks,
have
a whole lot of birds.
ducks and geese.
We have geese.
We
have. Let's see. Who else do we have? Wait, hold on, wait, Dad, go back. I just saw someone say something for Abel. Abby, what do you think about drag queens?
What does Abel say about drag queens?
Hot dog queens.
What are the drag queens?
Hot dog queens.
He doesn't know what they are.
If you want to
Better yet.
trannies are.
Ugly clown.
Ugly clowns. What happens to homos?
They die. Done.
Where do they go? Where do they go?
To hell.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah, sure. Just be careful of that cord. Now, well, look, it's Sheila. Everybody's saying hi.
Hi.
That's Sheila. Do you remember Sheila?
Wait, Dad, is my hat green screen? Wait, can you finish your recording thing on to see if my hat's
Hello.
like...
Hello, guys.
I remember her.
Guys are so cute.
Dad, what about the one? Hi,
Guys.
It's good he don't know what they are.
Dad, what about the one?
Now, Lily, when she was little, when I used to go preaching, she'd say, "Daddy's going to fight the dragons."
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Why did they do that? Guys, and guess what?
Easy, don't pull that.
Guess what, guys?
What?
Guys, you asked a question.
What? God, say what?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello, pet.
Future
Oh,
street
my goodness.
Repent, all you sinners.
Baby, can you say
That's it.
Dad, why were you? Pet. Oh, my pet. What? Pet.
What does Ruben say? Have you completely lost your mind?
Yes.
Wait, what did they say? What did somebody say?
What?
What did somebody say?
Jesus is king.
Yes.
Hello, everybody. So if you guys want to go through the list, if you want to say it, Kaylee's on.
Say something.
Say hi, Kaylee.
Say something.
Jose, Michael, Tiffany.
Say something.
By the way, Lily, your laptop came from Michael, and he's watching right now. The guy that says Evolution Slayer and Tiffany, they're husband and wife, and that's the one who sent you the laptop.
Lily, say
Dad.
something.
Dad, why is it just looping?
Stop doing that.
Dad, why is it just looping on there?
What? It's I don't know. It's
Our Wi-Fi is so bad. Wait, I want to see if the thing on my phone is.
Can't see you, Lily. There you are, just creeping
Is
around.
it? Nope.
You're on
They can see me. Oh,
They
can see me for show.
Bruh, I got.
It's just
I
looping
know.
on there. Do you know why it's just looping, Dad?
I don't know why this is looping.
You broke your PC.
It's not a PC. That's the software. It still works just fine.
Laptop.
See, it's on YouTube. It's just fine. See, I can restart here.
Dad, don't watch this.
Start your live stream. Oh, is it on Facebook?
Baby, what are you doing? Don't put that on my computer.
What
Is
about
that why it's-
you? Dad, why were you screaming?
What, honey?
Why were you screaming?
I didn't know that I was. Where you going?
He can scream. Ow. She's gonna kidnap Abel.
This one? That one's still kind of sore.
No, it's supposed to be. It doesn't dry. That one doesn't
Oh.
dry.
Don't squish it. Don't squish it. Lily made
Do
that
you
for
guys
me.
want to see him? Do you guys want to see the bird?
You want to see ham? What is this, Welly? You made this. What is this?
No, Brielle made it.
Oh,
Do you guys want to see the bird?
What that?
I don't know. Brielle made it.
Everyone's growing. Yes.
Sit baby at the couch.
No, I'm not getting out.
I was just telling him how John offered you $50 to throw away your Grogu, and you were like, no.
Would he actually give him the $50? Giving her the $50?
I thought
Yeah,
I
he
thought he said
would've.
like 80 or something. I thought he said like 80.
Yeah, you would have.
It sounded like he said 80.
But yeah, see Tiffany right there, Lily? Tiffany right there?
He was eating me.
With the birds, with the swan? Her husband and her, they're the
Show
ones who
us the
sent
bird.
you, that laptop you got, that came from them.
Dad, I want to see the bird.
Show us the bird.
Dad, they won't leave my hair. Excuse me.
Amy, don't eat her hair. They want to see ham, Amy. Should we show them ham?
She's gonna go get him.
Oh, should we show them ham?
Miss you all. Bird.
Kaylee said she misses all you guys. Well, then tell her to come visit you.
Yeah.
Say, what's up with that? Ruben used to come visit you all the time,
I know.
right?
Come to my
Brought it back.
Come to my house.
Come to my house.
Don't pull that microphone. You're gonna pull it off the thing there. Don't pull that. Come to my house. What do you want? What are they gonna do when they come to your house?
Can I play one of these?
What do you want them to do if they come to your house? Play? Are they gonna play?
The bird is here.
What are they gonna play?
I'm broke.
Wait, Dad, go to your recording software. Go to your recording software. His Hamlet. I want to see.
He watch this one. The green screen kind of messes him up.
Look, see. Look.
That's not his actual color. He's actually like yellow.
I'm trying to get him to step up.
Step up.
Here, get him to step up.
Step up. Step up. Good boy.
Show him. Show him.
He jumped
He
on
wants
you.
you. Oh,
Get him
Dad,
off of
he's
me.
been eating my necklace.
Put him on your hat. Put him on your hat, Dad. Dad, put him on your hat. Get away.
Here.
Bring him back.
He wants
Bring him
Lukey.
I don't know. Bring him back.
Bring him back. Why? He
Dad,
can't
my
be a
teeth
guest?
are
He can't be our
outside.
special guest?
He's our special guest, all right.
Dad, your teeth are
You guys want to see the bird? There's the bird.
Yeah.
Yep.
I want to drive the next up so I can bring stuff. Uh-oh, Sheila wants to bring you guys stuff. Uh-oh.
Stuff roll.
Bring some for him.
Yeah, you. Well, you don't remember Sheila. You saw her, when did you guys saw her? In September. She stayed over your house.
He's see-through. He's a ghost.
Yeah,
He's a ghost.
Sheila stayed over at her house.
The holy bird. Dad, he's the holy bird.
You guys probably don't. You probably remember. You guys might remember Sheila. Do you remember Sheila?
He's on my shoulder.
She slept in Julie's room.
He's eating my necklace.
Julie's room. You and him.
Yeah, your older. Remember Sheila? Yeah.
He's eating my necklace.
September.
So, do
Don't
you
touch it.
remember?
We gotta watch it. That's the sword that some
21st
people
night
think.
of September.
September. I was born in September.
AB, do you miss Ruben?
Yeah. I was kind of.
You miss Ruben?
Yeah. I was kind of quiet.
Look,
September.
Dad,
Got the bird.
Oh my gosh. He's raging for my necklace.
Kind of.
What hands?
Look, get out of the bedroom.
Can you get say hi, Anna?
Hi,
He's just repeating.
No, Anna, not Hannah. You're tired, huh?
Anna, Amy, Anna.
You wanna go to bed?
Are you even restream?
You want Daddy to put you to sleep?
Dad.
You wanna go rock with Daddy?
Rocking around.
Sorry, my hands were full doing something.
Yeah, you want Daddy to go rock you?
That's funny.
Do you wanna go sit on my bed?
Wait, can they even see him? Can they see him, Dad?
They're putting goats away. It's really late for you. You should. Wow, it's midnight. Oh my gosh, I kept you guys on here for 3 hours. Good lord.
Wait, it's been 3 hours?
I'll finish my story another time. AB, don't go anywhere, buddy. Daddy's almost done. I'm gonna hop off now. Like all these people are leaving.
Bye.
How do you keep the cats from the bird? The cats are outside cats, not
The
inside.
cats stay outside.
Yeah, the cats stay outside.
But we have
Go get your brother. Just ran out.
we
there.
have dogs. There's one actually. Do they know Mila?
Bye,
Do they know Mila?
She killed a chicken.
Yeah. So
We'd love to come visit. That's Tiffany. Well, tell them to come visit. They're in California.
So Julie actually
Is
has
your
a
mom
dog.
out
I
there?
don't know if you guys know about Mila, but Julie has a dog
Julie's
called
out
Mila.
there. Okay.
Mila killed a
remember
bird.
you
I don't know if
stayed
Mila's gonna try killing Ham.
One time for 4 hours. Yeah, that's.
Anna says, "Would you like me to send some treats for your cats and you?
Yeah.
They have some fun gummies."
Yeah. Sure.
Oh, I would ask kids if you want to send them treats. Of course, they're gonna say yes.
Wait, can you send some treats for Ham?
Do they have bird treats for cockatiels?
Maybe.
That's Brielle's bird. She bought that with her own money.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh,
Dad, look.
wow.
He wants to stay on my shoulder.
Dad, look what Tiffany said.
He likes my.
Yawn. She taught. Yeah. So I will tell my story another time, you guys. So what we're gonna do here is this, guys. Kaylee's gonna bring you guys more dum dums.
Yay.
Wait, hold on, wait, Dad, can I bring the bird?
So you guys, what a manipulative guy would do is say, kids, let's say, guys, can you say it in your most saddest voice ever? Say, ready, guys? I want you to say it really sad like this. Go, no, don't touch that. No. Guys, go like this. Go, we really need the money to go down to South Padre Island to preach to the kids.
no.
You gotta do it in your saddest voice ever.
Do I have to?
What's the matter? Hi, Brava. What? Right here. Which one? Oh, right here. Kaylee said hi. She's so thrilled.
Birds might like sunflower seeds. Yes, they do. They
Yeah.
love sunflower seeds.
Yes.
So anyway, you guys know. So anyway, we're gonna end this tonight so I could put these munchkins to bed. I didn't realize what time it was. So listen, you guys. In all seriousness, we do have a trip to South Padre Island. We do need support to do that.
Bye.
Like I said, the trip is about $400, and we still need that. We still have Henry that needs help. We still, the school supplies for the young lady that was rescued on our preaching of the border are taken care of. But South Padre Island is the priority right now. South Padre Island and Henry are the priority right now. If you want to help support the ministry, believe me, to go down there and preach, long preach. You can use our website, officialstreetpreachers.com/give. Our Venmo at Official Street Preachers, and our Zelle is admin at Official Street Preachers.
Congratulations, you received it. Wow. What was that? You received 100 messages.
Yeah, I get that pops all the time.
Bye-bye.
So,
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
say, Daddy's got to go preaching.
Bye-bye, preaching.
Are you going to preach when you get bigger? Or what are you going to preach?
Bye-bye.
You'll see him next time on Warriors for Christ.
We're going to see you next time.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And if you got some value with this, I know it's a long video, but encourage others to subscribe to the channel and give us a like. When the video's over, come back, give it a like, and give it a share. That's how we beat the algorithms. Don't forget we have a Rumble channel, which is Official Street Preachers also. Make sure you follow us there. So when YouTube does shut us down eventually, and they will, we still have Rumble. Most of you guys follow us on there. We appreciate the follows. We just try to run a channel here with teaching, with real life things, and just to talk and be fellowship with the brethren as best as we could with you guys all over the world. But like I said, we genuinely do need some help getting down to South Padre. March, it's a week-long preach. I know David put some out today. I'm putting out now again, officialstreetpreachers.com/give. No,
I'm not going to tell you.
Zelle, admin Official Street Preachers, and Venmo at Official. Zelle is admin at officialstreetpreachers.com.
What?
And Venmo is at Official Street Preachers. And I'll tell you what, maybe these guys can buy you dinner tomorrow night. What would you like for dinner tomorrow night?
McDonald's.
Oh gosh, I hate McDonald's. If you want to buy the kids McDonald's tomorrow night, you can send us.
I want Happy Meal.
Whataburger.
Whataburger?
Yeah, Whataburger.
No.
Okay.
No.
Just saying, if you want to buy dinner tomorrow night for the guys to eat out, because we don't eat out a whole lot
Really
anymore.
appreciate it.
Or do you want to go to IHOP? IHOP's cheaper than going to having
Sure.
IHOP.
IHOP.
You guys like IHOP because the kids eat free.
Yeah.
Just saying, if you want to do that as a blessing, we'd appreciate that. But like I said, if not, the priority is getting down to the preach. But anyway, thank you guys for joining me tonight, hanging out with me for 3 hours and 20 minutes. Appreciate you guys for hanging out. Love you guys so much. Keep our family in prayer. If you need prayer from us or anything from us, please don't have to reach out. Lukey here would love to help anybody that needs anything. And Noelle, she'll pray for you, right? If they need prayer, you'll pray for them,
Yes.
right? Right, Welly?
Yes.
This is Wirecast. Anyway, love you guys. God bless you guys. I will see you guys on Sunday night.
I would like to address some of you upcoming street preachers. You have to understand, you're not going to be a pulpit preacher. You're not going to preach in very nice places. As a matter of fact, where God will send you, it's going to be a little bit dirty. Unfortunately, most ministers see their flock dressed nice, looking nice, smelling nice on Sunday. But we see them from Monday through Saturday at any given place. And so that flock is a mess. And you have to understand, when you preach open air, it's not going to be glamorous. Unfortunately, God's going to send you into the filth, the wickedness. You're going to understand why, even at one point, God resented even making mankind. And so you need to count the cost. There's nothing glamorous. There's nothing wonderful and beautiful. It's not, you can forget about being a missionary to Hawaii. If you're going to be an open-air preacher, your hands are going to get dirty because the field that you're going to plow is filthy. You're going to look at sin in a whole different way. As a matter of fact, if you're a good street preacher, you're going to hate sin. You're going to despise sin. You're not just going to dislike it. You're going to understand why God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah and why God destroyed the world with water and flood. And so if you're a young open-air preacher, this is what you're going to have to look up to. This is going to be the field in which you're going to be plowing in. And you need to rejoice in that and understand you're going to be hated, despised, and jailed working in a place like this. Because one day, I'm going to die, and I'm going to be with the Lord. And all this will be yours.